I see that I was muted. I caught it quickly. How's everyone doing tonight? Um, what a week. What an absolute week. And it's only Wednesday. We're only just getting over the hump. Let's see who we've got in the stream now. We got Greeny. We got Ponga before he went live on Box Nostalgia. We got Jason saying the boom is now. FSR 56, Sky that one guy, Gym Leader Pepe, Pokey Slam, Snack Bread, The Big Potato, Tic Tac, and Navi Station. I'm not giving out refunds because I didn't sell any. I tried looking back at my records actually. Somebody had reached out to me about consigning one of the playtest cards with me, and then they either never followed through and sent it, or I'm missing it. But I searched my whole thing for alpha, beta, playtest, my whole consignment sheet, and I didn't see anything. So, but I do have recollection that somebody had reached out to me about potentially doing it. I guess I'm glad that that hadn't come through. I'm glad that I wasn't faced with that. I think if it were a small enough amount of money, why not offer to refund the people up front and then deal with it later? Not like I haven't done that before on minor things, but if it were a big enough number, and I think that would be the case for almost anybody. I think that would be the case for almost anybody. But let's talk about Ethan wants celebrations to go to the moon. Joe Calloway, Reed Olivey, Old Man Dirt, Frisky Squid, and Laszlo Kovacs. Of all the weeks, this was certainly one of them. Yes. So I'm going to do a little bit of a preface. For anyone who already has heard a million times over, I apologize. We're going to run down really quickly. I'm going to try to go through it in 10 minutes or so. Usually when I try to target 10 minutes, it ends up being like 20 or 30. I will really try to stick to 10 minutes and see how I do. But I do have, shout out to E4. I have been on E4 for over 10 years now. Started and registered in 2014. I have a soft spot for forums over Instagram and YouTube and Discord, all these different places I engage, and I've largely left E4, but I'm still there. I've chimed in a little bit. I've thrown in my 2 cents here and there over a few topics in the past couple weeks. But yeah, let me find this. I'll talk through everything that I'm seeing, and then we'll talk about it. So this is when it all dropped. This is when it all started. Shout out to PFM, Pokemon Flying Master, formerly, especially. He is the individual who owns some of these cards. He's affected, and he did some detective work. Detective Pikachu, he got out his little microscope, and we will detail a little bit, but by no means am I claiming to be an expert. One thing I love about Scott, though, PFM, that's his name. Met him in person, great guy. Very smart guy. I like how he lays it out very scientifically. There will be posts that I show you in this thread that are very matter of fact, like this is what I see, this is what the cards are telling me, this is what the dot stamps are telling me, but he will not go so far as to say your card is real, your card is fake. So many people get wrapped up in emotion and they throw these things around. CGC's dead, CGC's done for, should I ever grade with CG? Like, he's just like, these are the facts as I see them. I could be wrong. I could be misinterpreting things. Like it's like he published a scientific paper. He actually posted it as an article, and he's looking for peer review, which is just a beautiful thing. In 2025, for someone to post a study, an article, a scientific discovery of sorts, and then please stress test this. Please give me counterexamples. Please, if my logic is faulty, point it out and we'll talk about it. This is so refreshing. This is so amazing. I should have poured more of this out to Scott directly or within that thread too. But yeah, let me after all that praise, let me get down to what is actually here. Very refreshing to see though, as I already went on about. So this was news to me. I feel like I heard about this years ago when some of that WikiLeaks stuff was going on, when some like big leak went on and somebody was found out by these same things. I'm pretty engaged in like some parts of the internet. I feel like this was like a story on Reddit somewhere. So I think this was like an uncovered memory that like, oh, some scanners, some printers actually share metadata and you can timestamp when something was printed or scanned or whatever based on that information. So all of these findings most of these findings are based on that fact. But yeah, for anyone who this is also new information to, it's not commonly known, but most brands of printer add metadata to color prints in the form of very tiny yellow dots that cannot be seen with the naked eye. To view them, you need magnifying glass or high-resolution image. So what was being done, taking a high-res scan, going into Photoshop, adjusting the colors up and down and left and right. I don't know which color's up, which color's down. All the methodology is poured out here. It's like a scholarly article that I used to read back in the day. Like, hey guys, today we're going to synthesize this cool chemical. Here's the equipment you need. Here's the here's the hypothesis. Here's the procedure. Here's the conclusion. It's got all that stuff. It checks all those boxes. So, loved it. Different brands of printers typically produce different patterns. The most prominently known one is the Xerox DocuColor dot pattern, which was decoded in 2005. This pattern encodes the printer serial number as well as the date and time the page was printed. Date and time the page was printed here is major. The serial number of the printer, maybe if the FBI, the CIA, the whatever XYZ alphabet soup gets a hold of this, maybe they can actually go and maybe they can find, like, this printer was originally sold to this individual at this date, this time. Maybe, like, I don't think PFM, I don't think anyone on E4 really has all the tools at their disposal that the FBI could. And if we're in multi-7-figure territory here, 8-figure territory here, maybe the FBI doesn't get engaged. There is a history of FBI being involved with PWCC and Heritage and Golden and PSA and BGS and maybe now CGC. Maybe CGC is finally having that that thing that everyone in the industry has dealt with at some point. That the newest one, CGC, is finally going to get their first row with the FBI. But the pattern is a 15 by 8 grid of dots that appears in a checkerboard across the entire page. Here's a Nidoqueen. I am bad with Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot. I'm bad with all those things. I know. I was just doing the pilot alphabet. I believe also the military alphabet. I wasn't actually doing the Greek alphabet. I don't remember that whole thing. But Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, that whole thing. I don't remember which one's which. Some of this will detail it, but wherein the problem lies is that this Nidoqueen, I believe it was Beta. I could be wrong here, but this was one of those that was proposed to be printed in pre-TCG times. Pre-TCG times being 1995, 1996, somewhere in that vicinity. The TCG was released in English, base set, 1999, but it was released in Japan in 1996. So, reading these dots, things that have been, the code has been cracked for some time now. It comes up with June 29th. June 29th, 2024 was the print date of this card. Could there have been some printer that had the wrong, printer didn't know its date? Like, what are the odds that the printer didn't know its date, printed it? No one's theorized that. I don't think that would be a reasonable theory whatsoever. But like the first thing my mind goes to, the first thing kind of my science-y brain goes to is like, can you tell a printer today, someone knowing what happened here, could someone tell a printer today that, hey, it is January 1st, 1950, and we're gonna print the alpha of the alpha, the omega. We're gonna print like the year that the founder of Pokemon was born. On his first day out of the womb, he scribbled this on a piece of paper. We're gonna print that. Can that be done? I think it can be. I think it can be. Most people that are doing criminal things are really dumb and wouldn't know to think of that. Wouldn't think of that. Wouldn't do that. But like in the future, that becomes a concern. So everything that is made should be and has been in question to some extent. But this is kind of telling us, hey, these things were printed in June of 2024. That's an issue. That's an issue. So multiple other cards. This was the first post that started the thread, I believe, on Sunday night. But even ones that were signed and witnessed by CGC, said by Akabane to be authentic, were shown to be printed in 2024. Now, this is where I'm going to jump to another post. So what I have here, it's the entire E4 thread. And I should have linked it in the description, but I will link this thread right here, right now, if anyone wants to follow along on the side. Where's my chat? Here's my chat. So here's a post if anyone wants to follow along. Yeah, ESP Kev, me talking about printing something with a computer date that said the 50s. That was me making a bad joke that would easily be found out. But yeah, could someone be doing these things in 2025? To try to backdate to 1995, 1996, now that they know to cover up that track. But yeah, let me continue on. So this thread that I just posted was made by PFM. I've filtered it for only PFM. Like everything else, everyone's got their 2 cents, myself included. I chimed in my 2 cents on this thread a couple times. But a lot of scholarly, a lot of novel work was done by PFM in particular, and I was filtering for like the juice, the good stuff. Jumping to the next one. So this was posted, when was this posted? 1 day ago, and it was edited 2 times. Maybe I need to clarify all the information to this point. So Scott, he's posted 66 times in this thread. The amount of work, the amount of effort, energy that went into each post is just crazy. Props to Scott for that, PFM. Alpha prototypes. So alpha prototypes, there are no yellow tracking dots since they were printed in black and white. There are 2 variants. They're calling them high quality and low quality. Many of the Pokemon playtest cards were likely printed. Oh, so sorry, that's just the name of the thread that we're in. But here he goes in a lot more depth. They're easily distinguished by the background. There's 1 set of high quality. All other copies appear to be low quality. Low quality appear to be copies of high quality as they pick up the same printing artifacts seen on the high quality version. I'm not going to go through everything with a fine-tooth comb, but basically there were some hairs on the back that were shown in every iteration, the same exact hair in the same exact spot. So it was theorized that they are scanned of the high res. So high quality is inconclusive. Low quality is likely a copy of high quality when the copy was made is inconclusive. Was the copy made in 1995? Then they would have some legitimacy. Then they would have some value. Then they might have more interest. If the copies were made in 2024, it's like, oh, well, that's a forgery. That's a fake. These weren't original things, original artifacts. Alpha prototypes, a unique dot pattern, different from beta. Likely from a Conoco Minolta or Epson printer. Some copies have both alpha dots and Xerox dots that can be dated. The hypothesis is that some alpha cards were scanned and copied, picking up alpha dots and reprinted in 2024. The alpha with inflated pop reports are more likely to have double pattern. A small handful of noticeably higher quality backs, such as the 3 starters and this Gyarados. High quality backs. So this is where it gets important. Not every card is fake. On my thumbnail, I showed a Charmander with a check mark next to it. The Charmander was verified, at least verified to be dated from 1996 per the dot codes. So, high quality back, dated to 1996 for the 3 starters. Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle. Alpha pattern only, inconclusive. We don't know. There's a pattern that repeats across many, many cards, but we don't know how to tie it to a date. It might never be possible to tie it to a date. But if the FBI steps in, and they hit up Epson, and they hit up Conoco Minolta, and they hit up whoever else required, there's a chance that those things could be discovered. Those things could be discovered. There might be a date to crack the code. Will we ever hear about that? I have no idea. I like to think if the FBI gets involved, they'll have PFM on the phone and they'll keep them updated in the loop. Probably unrealistic expectations there, but it would be a cool thought. Very unreasonable. I don't think that would happen whatsoever. Double dot pattern. All observed copies so far have 2024 dots. 2024 dots. Bad news. 2024 dots. Beta playtest. 2 variants, high quality and low quality. High quality has yet to be observed with any dots. So no high quality cards, as of this posting, had any dots. Low quality has observed every time with the 2024 dots. So if you have a low quality beta card, it's seemingly been printed in 2024. CGC is going to be doing things to theoretically discuss this, remedy this to some extent, hopefully. Hopefully everyone is made whole from this. There only appears to be 1 HQ beta per Pokemon, implying the vast majority of betas have 2024 dots. HQ betas have subtle traces of the alpha pattern on the back, suggesting that the HQ beta was scanned copied from a card that has the alpha print pattern. This implies the HQ betas were printed after the alphas, and the authenticity is contingent with the authenticity of the alphas. So right here, we have like a piggybacking scenario. If the alphas are deemed to be fake eventually, we will then know, since the betas, the high quality betas, have artifacts of the alphas in them, they will subsequently be inferred to be frauds as well. It's unlikely that the low quality are simply scans copies of high quality, given that not a single print artifact or dirt speck has yet been observed to be transferred from high quality to low quality. The high quality beta is inconclusive. Low quality beta, all observed copies so far have the 2024 dots. Delta and Alpha hasn't said too much. Yeah, seems like most of them have the 2024 dots. Beta presentation, no high-res scan available yet. Continuing on to the last one I have bookmarked. I think this is the last one I have bookmarked. Or maybe I already did them all. So I think this is talking more about, more of the annotated copies. This is getting even further above my head, but I think I did all I wanted to do here. I wanted to lay out everything that was the original novel work of PFM. And I wanted, sorry if you heard that come through. That was just me pulling up the video to see where we're at. But yeah, I wanted to show all the novel work and shout out PFM that was done. I wanted to discuss this massive fraud in the Pokemon hobby. We had BBCE authenticating a sealed booster case of first edition Pokemon that ended up being, oops. Sorry, I went back to my fisherman intro. So we had BBCE. We all got duped agreed a few years ago. What was it? $2.5 million approximately for the sealed case of booster boxes. That was the biggest fraud at the time in Pokemon. It's a sign that we're growing up. It's a sign that the boom has boomed, but Pokemon has graduated now above the 2.5 million scam. I think we've hit 8-figure territory. $1 million is 7 figures. I think we've graduated into 8-figure territory. A graduation ceremony that no one really wants to be a part of. I personally am not affected. I don't believe I've ever consigned one of these. If I had, it would have been through Fanatics. And did I ever on eBay? I don't think so. No, because I stopped my eBay vault consigning predating all these things coming out, I believe. But yeah, it's wild times that we're in. I'm going to catch up with chat now. I'm going to do my best to catch up and engage with chat. And we'll go from there. I have a lot of other topics that I want to talk about tonight. But that was the launch one. That was the main one that I wanted to cover. I will keep these handy if people want to dive back in to the post. But yeah. Let's see. FS is here to hear the lawnmowers. Will this have a positive or negative effect on the boom? Honestly, I've said it many times, but one of the most common questions that I was getting very early on was like, should I immediately stop grading with CGC? If you deem on your own that like, hey, CGC authenticated these cards, that's dumb of them. I don't want to do business with CGC anymore. That's entirely valid. But me, as a business, my primary concern is like staying afloat, making money, feeding my family, all that good stuff. CGC still provides value to the hobby. And one thing I'll say, we're only 3 days in. A lot of people, reasonably so, very emotional, very like, I'm out a ton of money, I want a response immediately. A lot of people giving CGC a lot of flack for not immediately making a public response. The last thing any company should do is immediately making an emotional response to a partial story. CGC, talking to their attorneys, talking to their insurers, talking to their authenticity guarantee department, like all that stuff, they need to do that. I understand we are chronically online. We are chronically engaged down. Like if you're in this watching Catch 'em All Collectibles on a Wednesday night rant, you are deep in the hobby. You are down many rabbit holes that the average person is not. And I believe CGC has already reached out to Alt. CGC's reached out to Fanatics and eBay and PSA, and like, because PSA does the eBay authenticity guarantee. All these companies have been given a boilerplate response, basically like to wait, hold on. It's only been a few days. We understand, but like CGC is gonna do something here. Will this sink them? Will this put them under? How much cash do they have on? I have no idea how much cash they have on hand. They're not a publicly traded company, as far as I understand. Otherwise, we could see that. We know how much cash Tesla has on hand. We know how much cash Berkshire Hathaway has on hand. But it'll be interesting. It'll definitely be interesting to see what happens here. Not advice of any kind. I would be surprised if this sinks CGC in its entirety. Will this do damage to their reputation? Absolutely. There's no company without any kind of scandal. And I guess some companies have probably fallen due to scandal in the past years. They're not around today inherently because of that. But I could be wrong here. This could age very poorly. But even if CGC were, so let's pursue the nuclear option. If CGC were to go bankrupt because of this, it would be bad for the people who bought the cards because maybe they don't have the cash flow, maybe they don't have the liquidity to pay out the authenticity guarantee on everything. But if you own a CGC card, the card doesn't fundamentally change, right? Like, one thing I think so many people get so hung up on, all I have is PSA cards around me right now. But like, and now this is a valuable one. If PSA were to go defunct, the card is still the card in there. If you're talking about alpha, beta, gamma, delta, maybe it's not the card that the label says it was. But if you have like high-graded CGC WotC, if you have high-graded CGC trophies, gold, like real cards, you still have the card. So like, if the company were to go away, you can crack the card out, cross-grade the card to another company that still exists. So like, it's not the end of the world, even if it is the end of CGC. That said, I don't think this will be the end of CGC. A lot of people are probably rooting for that. Frankly, I'm not rooting for that. Everyone will make mistakes. This is a massive mistake. I've made mistakes in my life. I have shipped the wrong items to people. I've definitely made errors. And the only thing you can ask of a person or a company or whatever is to rectify the mistake when it happens. No company will be perfect. There's countless examples of graded fake cards with PSA, graded fake cards with CGC, graded fake cards with Beckett, stamps, signatures, whatever it may be. But how they respond to it is everything. If CGC makes everyone whole, then it's not good. It was a bad look. Hopefully they'll be more careful moving ahead. But I think they could survive this. I think if they make everyone whole, they could survive this. I think most people will never, like, even though PokeBeach made an article, even though I'm making a live stream, there's tons of content being made around this. But you could walk into a Walmart on your next Prismatic Evolutions restock and say like, hey, what do you guys think about the, like, there's 20 people there punching each other, fighting, kicking, screaming over Prismatic Evolutions. And you say, hey guys, what do you think about CGC and those beta cards? What are you talking about? Then they punch you in the face, they take the Prismatic and they run to the checkout aisle. Most people engaged in the Pokemon hobby will have no idea of this. Many people who collect CGC, many people who collect graded cards will have no idea any of this is going on. Remember when the drama calendar, remember when the CT scanning was the big thing? Remember when the piping the packs 3 weeks ago was the big thing? Like, there's always something. This is big. I'm not trying to say this is nothing. This is very big. CGC did a big boo-boo. CGC, you need to fix this boo-boo. You did bad. You're in timeout. Fix it. I'm not saying it's not, but like, we will get through it together. Breathe. Breathe. Use logic, reason, patience, all that good stuff. You use all the good traits. Don't use all the bad. PFM embodied so many of the things that people need to be when just looking at a situation, analyzing it. But let me see. I don't think I showed it. But there were multiple comments where he was like, feel free to let me know if you see something else. Yeah, right here. So I'm going to put this back on the screen. So, in other words, if a card has a backside that isn't high quality like these ones, then it is reasonable to assume it doesn't predate 2024, meaning that it was made in 2024 or later. At least no studied example. So there is no single example out there with a low quality backside that is made, confirmed to be made before 2024. And he said right here, this is the conclusion. This is probably the conclusion of my investigation. Please let me know if you think I made a mistake. Thanks to the people who helped him. So he, like the co-authors, whatever, the people who helped him along the way, shouting out, citing his sources, and piecing together a lot of it, and the other Human for Scale, Link 2, and Mika, who is also helping, and all the people who provided scans. And then after that, he says, I will avoid saying what is real and what is fake, as I have the entire time. I'm just providing observational information to the best of my ability, and people can infer what they want from it. I'm like, Scott, PFM, you're probably not watching. I'm going to DM PFM later, and I'm going to say, like, can I just put that on my entire channel? Like, I can skip a lot of the start line, but I'm just providing observational information to the best of my ability, and people can infer what they want from it. So let me highlight just what I'm after. Like, I want to put this on a shirt, and I want to give all the proceeds to PFM. That is such a good line. That is so good. Like, this is my entire channel is me, to quote a great man, Scott, PFM. I'm just providing observational information to the best of my ability, and people can infer what they want from it. That is my entire channel. I am one dude talking about what I see, talking about what I'm doing, and then you don't have to, like, follow me. Please don't blindly follow me. Please don't blindly trust me. Like, listen to what I'm saying, run it through your own tests, and then make your own decisions. Like, that's so good. That's so good. That was, I read that, and I literally got chills when I first read that. I'm like, that's so good. In the era of, like, TikTok brain, in the era of, and so many of the comments, if you read through, so Scott posted 66 times. There were 891 people posting. It's not unreasonable that 891 posts were made without reading every post before it, because it does become cumbersome. But, like, most of them, you could tell had no idea what had been said before it. They come in, like, the amount of people that will just ask me a question in 2025, in an Instagram DM or like wherever. You could just Google that. I'm gonna Google the answer too. You want me to Google the answer and then copy and paste that for you into here? It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, shout out to that whole thread. Shout out to PFM. I'm getting hyped up here. But that yeah, I don't know what more to say. It's an unfortunate situation. I'm happy for having experts in the industry, experts in the field that are not employed by professional grading card companies that sometimes do. And shout out to the people over at Blowout Cards. So many times there's been, like, trimmed cards and this and that, like all the Kurt's Card Care stuff and card doctoring being caught by the people over at Blowout Cards. They'll show a card, they'll show the cert, they'll show the corner, they'll show the stains here, and then the corner gets, sorry, the top gets lopped off. The big stain goes away, but these little stains don't go away. The amount of, like, detective work that gets done and leads to useful places that sometimes doesn't end up being fully followed through on by the grading card companies, but sometimes it does. This one is so big that it has to be addressed. It has to be addressed. But, like, in the short term, I haven't set a single grading card submission to any of the big three companies this year. I am doing, I'll talk about that more in my future videos, but I'm doing the live streaming thing. I'm buying packs, I'm buying sealed, I'm buying singles, and I'm selling them through Fanatics Live. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy to source raw cards for grading. I have some cards actively out. But if I were a business today, and if a big part of my business was grading modern with CGC, I would continue. I would not hold up. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe they go, like, that could age poorly. They could go bankrupt. Everything could be lost. I don't think it's going to be that fantastic. Not fantastic is the right word. I don't think it's going to be that fantastic. That's not the word I'm looking for, but whatever. It's not going to be that exciting. It's not going to be that, like, drastic of a thing. I don't think it'll be that. I think it's likely that if you send a bulk submission or a higher service level submission to CGC in the next few weeks to grade your gray felt hats, to grade your Moonbreon, to grade your whatever, and then sell them for margin. Like, I still think that can and will exist. But we'll see. We'll see. I am not sending. I have not sent Talk versus Walk. I'm telling you, you'll probably be fine. But that said, I've not sent anything to CGC this year, and I'm probably not sending anything anytime soon. But it's not because of this. It's because of other things that I'm doing. I'm not sending the PSA. I'm not sending the BGS either right now. But yeah, let's see. I'm going to try to catch up now. Dan can't keep getting away with winning or dodging losses like this. I did dodge this loss. I am not, like, Collector Boy Dan anymore. If I was Collector Boy Dan, I probably would have bought something. I probably would have bought a Charmander. Unfortunately, there were no Quaxleys involved back then. But if there was a Quaxley, I definitely would have bought that. How's it going? Innovate TCG. Glenn saying CGC is crap. There's one thing I'll say too. I saw a fair amount of, on Instagram, on Discord, on YouTube, wherever. I saw a lot of victory lapping. I saw a lot of grave dancing. And the amount of times that people will say it was obvious. Yes, things are obvious. Like once they've happened. Oh, good job, Nostradamus. The fake cards were fake. Yep, the fake cards were fake after they were discovered by someone's like hard work that they were fake. Printed in 2024, whatever you want to call it. I need to be careful because Scott's not definitively saying what's fake, what's not. He's just showing his findings. I need to observe. I'm on YouTube where the clicks and the drama and all that emotion run around. I need to be careful. I need to stay scientific. But it's so easy for people to just chirp. People will always just chirp. The amount of noise in the hobby, the amount of, like, I've made videos about that before. The amount of noise from the peanut gallery. It's like, go away. Go away. Let people actually do the investigation. Let's hear what CGC has to say. Like, I'll say this too. If CGC comes out, admits fault, maybe we find that some more, like, there are still things to be discovered. There are still things up in the air. Maybe everything except those like 3 or 4 cards are fakes. Maybe CGC pays out on all of them. But if they do, that says a lot. If CGC follows through and pays out multi-million dollars, that says so much about them and their guarantee. It would be a bad way to go about it, but it would be kind of a W for the long term, I think. It would be a big L for having done that. Short term, big L, lost a lot of money, 7 figures. But if you end up standing by your authenticity, I'm not going to turn this into a different. This is all on CGC now, but there are instances of other grading card companies having blatant disregard for their financial guarantee, not honoring things that like objectively were wrong and bad, and just like fraudulently not honoring their guarantee. So if CGC steps up and honors their guarantee here, when it's this amount of money, that's massive. That's all you can ask for. Mistakes will happen, but what happens when the mistakes are found? Are they rectified or are they brushed under a rug? This one's too big to fit under a rug, I think. But yeah, let me continue on. FBI Pokemon investigations, we are in fact booming. CGC has been replying to people. CGC's been saying, like, we're figuring out what we're doing. We're going to be in touch with you. They have told, and they have had a lot of the platforms delist cards. So yeah, Heritage, Golden, Fanatics, all, like, a lot of cards have been pulled in the meantime. But, and I'm not like I don't care. I care so little about these grading card companies. So much of my business is pivoting away from using grading card companies, and I love it. I think the market as a whole has way too much, I don't want to be vulgar here, way too much deriding, way too much fanboying over CGC, PSA, BGS. Like too many people are just on one company. Just like I utilize the companies to further my business. They provide a service that has some value. I think the market irrationally overvalues across the board. Black Label, PSA 10, CGC 10, they're all disgustingly overvalued relative to the raw card for my taste. That's why I don't collect I don't collect graded cards. I have some graded cards that I graded in the past, but like in the future, when I get cards that are meaningful to me, significantly less amount of the time. Like I will not be grading encapsulating almost any of them because grading is just like it's gotten crazy in my opinion. But yeah, let me let's see. Printer metadata dots. Yeah, I was memeing about the 1950s thing. I'm surprised that Dan, being a robot too, didn't decode it with his robot analysis. I've never held one in hand. Had I held one in hand, had I done the Dan scan on it, I might have caught it, but sadly, I'm not a collector anymore. I don't, I never bought one, and so I didn't know. But yeah, we needed some more robot scans. Grading companies don't know anything about authentication. It seems they tend to just lie. I think this is like, they call it throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I wouldn't go so far that grading companies are useless and meaningless and need to go away entirely. I think that's too far. The purpose, though, I'm on your side. I'm on your side that the original purpose that grading companies provided was like, hey, party A, party B. I have this cool Charmander card that I want to sell to you. And this started with coins way back in the day. Maybe it started with comics first, but like I have this card that I want to sell to you. This card is mint. And then I sell it to this guy. This card is near mint. This card is light play. You're a scammer. So like, I'll be the grading card company here. PSA comes along and like, hey, instead of you sending it to you, you send it to me. I'll grade it. I'll be a trusted third party. I'll financially guarantee it. And then I'll send it to you. So like, hey, it's not, this card is mint. No, this card is LP. This card is mint. Yes, this card is mint. Yes, this card is mint. This guy said so. He'll financially back it. Like, you're removing the bias. You're removing counterparty trust in a biased individual. Third-party authenticators are unbiased third parties that are reasonably good at their job. And for all the criticism that grading card companies get, 95 to 99+% of the time, they get it right. 95 to 99+% of the time, they get it right on authenticity. 99% plus on authenticity. On the grade, 95 to 99%, they're within a half grade to a grade. Monetarily, that's disgusting how much of a range that serves. But like, we still have it. We still have it. Given, and this, to be fair, this is not entirely the fault of PSA, CGC, BGS. This is the fault of us. Because what we do is, hey, this card is super clean. I'm going to go grade it with Dan over here. Dan calls it a 10. It's a gem 10 card. And then this guy takes it back and he sells it onto the market. That's a weak 10. Like, there are overlap between grades. There are issues. It's not a perfect system. But like, if we valued, so say a raw card is 100. If we valued a 9 at 120 and a 10 at 200, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. But we are collectors. We are insane. We are almost certifiably insane in some aspects. Relative to like the layperson, relative to the non-collector, it is actually insane that we will pay $2,000. Sorry, this is a BGS 9.5. That we will pay, where'd my 10 go? Here's my 10. It is kind of insane that we will pay $2,000 for this card because it has this label. And then if it has like a black label, we'd pay 20 grand for it. But then if it's just raw, I think I have a raw one. Where'd it go? Then if it's raw, we'll only pay 200. So it's like, we'll pay 200 and then we'll pay 2,000 and we'll pay 20,000 if the label's black. Like, we're kind of insane, being fair. Like, just be fair, be honest with yourself. It's kind of crazy. So we only have the issues with strong 10, weak 10, all that stuff because of the absurd secondary valuation we put on these things due to other people's opinions. Like, I, for one, don't care what other people think in so many aspects of my life. When I ascend to my final form of Collector Dan, my cards will be kept in a binder, and I will not need outside approval on what some person thinks it is, what some person thinks it's worth. I trust myself more to grade and authenticate my own cards than I trust any individual at PSA or CGC or BGS. I've always been a set collector. I've always been like I want cards that come out of packs. I want cards I used to chase from packs years ago. This past Saturday on Fanatics Live, PK and I opened a Charizard from base set. I like the Charizard from base set more than I like most cards in the hobby because it's nostalgic to me. It has meaning to me. I have the one from my childhood that has the most meaning to me of any card in the hobby. That along with some other ones that have personal stories from my childhood. We've lost the plot, I think, a lot of us when it comes to grading, when it comes to like, I need this counterparty approval. And how I know we've lost the plot is like when you see a PSA 10 that's a clear PSA 10 that they uphold as a real PSA 10 financial guarantee, and then it sells for like 5 times what a PSA 9 would, even though it's like clearly a PSA 8 in a PSA 10 case. We have lost the plot in a lot of ways as collectors, I think. But that's all my rant and ramble. The lights weren't even red. I should have had the lights red for a lot of that. Let me continue catching up. It's all fake. Super nerdy discussion. It's robot talk. That value will buy one. Are any of them authentic, like the Squirtle, Bulba, Charmander, the earlier one? So I covered that earlier. Yes, there are some of them that are by all things that PFM explored. they were printed in 1996. So yeah, that's the best that we can know right now. D&G is goated for doing refunds to people. Yeah, it's nice. Usually, bad news travels the fastest out of everything. Bad news will travel the fastest out of anything. But I was texting with James earlier when I was snowblowing my driveway, and he's like, "This is the fastest I've ever had a video get to 1,000 views. Over 1,000 views in under an hour." It's nice when positive news will spread quickly too. James is refunding everyone. You need to send the card back to him. So the cards he mentioned in the video, the cards might be coming back to him anyways. The cards might be declined via at eBay Authenticity Guarantee. But PSA is involved in that, not CGC, which is kind of ironic. PSA is authenticating CGC authenticated cards. But yeah, James, great on him to stick his neck out there, refund 6 figures, and then wait for himself to be reimbursed with CGC. Let's see. How did some random internet guy figure this out, but a multi-million-dollar company designed for this not be able to? I'm gonna rant and ramble it a lot more in my video for Monday. I'm not gonna spoil what my entire video for Monday will be. But professionals are not always right. That's almost entirely what my video is gonna be on Monday. So I guess I just spoiled it. Professionals are not always right. Always consult professionals, but always arm yourselves with the knowledge that what they say is not absolute. To be fair to them, there are 8 billion people in the world, and only like a few hundred work at each grading card company. Maybe 1,000, couple thousand at PSA. So like by sheer numbers, there is more human intelligence outside of grading card companies than inside of grading card companies. That's just math. That's just known. And a lot of us are, and like very passionate, engaged in the hobby, in the nuances, in all the stuff. So yeah, to be fair to them, there's a lot of brain power outside of their walls. But to be harsh against them, as people should be, it's like they are trading card authenticating experts. Not only that, they are comic book authenticating experts in other aspects of their, in other wings of their company, in other branches of their company. Coin experts. Like you would think. And one thing I'll have to say too that a lot of people were misunderstanding, and the way that these are printed is on an offset printing press. They do like the whole different color things. They overlay the rosette pattern. These do not have these codes. Printers and scanners do. Offset printing equipment in industrial settings, as far as I understand, does not have those kind of codes, those kind of date things. So it wouldn't apply to cards like this. It wouldn't apply to things made in an industrial setting. And honestly, there's not really any cards that I care about that reside outside of an industrial setting. I want things that everyone has a chance to get through some normal product. I want things that that are like that's the most real thing to me. The most real thing to me is something that is like mass distributed. Maybe there's a one-of-one ring. Maybe only one person gets it in the end. That's why I kind of like the idea of Sheila's cards eventually. But yeah, the amount of shrouding in mystery around the Art Academy cards, extra copies, trophies, extra copies, like extra copies. Yeah, there's 30,000 in the damn pop report. Like that's I say it kind of sarcastically a lot of times, but part of me like actually means it too. The more the better. The moderner the better. That card was printed in 2024. Yes, I know, isn't it great? Like actually 2023, I believe. Let me double check. 2023. So yeah, you tell me my card's printed in 2024, and I'm like, yeah, I know, isn't that awesome? That's great. I want to be in the high pop. I want to be in the highly liquid. I want to be in the no drama zone. Like, give me the highest pop, most modern, most liquid, most hype card. I want to be there. I want 1,000 of those. I don't want one of those old, maybe fake, crazy story. Like, that's just never what I've been into. Coin collecting, Stein collecting. There are prototypes. There's this, that. I've heard 70, 80-year-old men argue over, like, there's one of these where the head isn't painted. And the way that these are made, they're made of ceramic. And then they're fired. And there's a glazing put on. And certain things over the glazing, under the glazing. Like, I don't care. I want the ones that were produced for wide distribution, and authenticity is less of a concern, less of an issue. Like I just want, same thing with coins. I don't do errors in coins. I don't like errors. I don't like ancient coins. To give me American made, get the red, white, and blue lights going. Give me a mercury dime that they made hundreds of thousands of. Give me a wheat penny that they made hundreds of thousands of. After 120 years, they're pretty scarce. Actually, 116 years, they're pretty scarce. A lot of them were destroyed. Yada yada yada. Give me a 1909 SVDB over any of these prototype cards, whether they're real or not. Like I just don't care. I maybe that makes me I don't know. I just don't care about like all the little things along the way that may or may not have been involved in the process, and clearly bad people are capitalizing on people's desire for those things. See, and that's one, you mentioned one, like I was not involved, but to hear Echo Base Collectibles, Joe, talk about every time he used to go to the different events, going to the Super Trainer Showdowns, this, that, the other thing, and Mike Boozer would pull out his binder and he'd show the pre-release Raichu. At that time, there was no Instagram, there was no TikTok, there was no whatever. Having that lore, having that history, I would care more about that card if I had heard about it when I was younger, if I was involved in that lore when I was younger, but I wasn't. So like, honestly, I'm way too broke anyways. Like most of the cards that I don't care about, I'm way too broke for anyways. Maybe that's just me, collector me coping, like, hey Dan, you're way too broke for that. Don't, like, pretend like you don't care about it because you can't afford it anyways, brokey. Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe my mind is like taking care of me and making me not like it for some reason. But the richer Daniel gets, the angrier he is at the hobby for blessing him. But no, like the Blastoise though, the Blastoise is one that was a lot less. So I would rank personally, and everyone is free to make their own valuations and determinations. Everyone's free to collect what they want to. Like if you don't like CGC, don't buy a CGC slab. If you don't like PSA, BGS, whatever. If you don't like grading card companies at all, which is more like where I'm headed, collect raw cards. Collect raw cards is perfectly fine. I was talking to myself there. I was talking to Brokey Dan there. I'm way too broke. I'm way too broke to buy a $5,000-$10,000 card and just set it back and do nothing with it forever. I'm way too broke for that. So that was me talking to me. Stein prototype Tark is dark. It is indeed dark, and I've been there. I've been there at 10 o'clock almost Eastern on YouTube. You've got a guy ranting and rambling about prototype fake Pokemon cards, some real, some fake. I've had those conversations with 70 and 80-year-olds at a Stein Club meeting. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going to roll back up. I'm gonna try to like run through these comments, try to catch up. If you have to question it, you probably shouldn't, at least for now. There's something to be said about like, had these panned out, had these been real, they would have been worth a lot of money. So some amount of people, it was absolutely greed. Some amount of people saw dollar signs, they got in, and they're going to be getting burned. Hopefully they'll be made whole. Hopefully they won't be burned. It's sad and it's weird when people root for CGC to fail because of this. It's sad and it's weird when people root for people to lose money because of this. Like, I don't think anyone is deserving. Even if they were trying to make money off them, I don't think people deserve to lose money for this, except for anyone who knew this was going on. Anything who knew these were printed in 2024 is involved should be behind bars. This is an 8-figure fraud. I hope people go to jail over this. Sad thing is, they probably won't. But I will say that, like, I've read a lot of Instagram stories. I've read a lot of E4 posts. There are people that are torn up about this. There are people, like, the truest of true collectors that bought it, that sold parts of their collection, that maybe they saved up extra for months to buy one of these cards, and then to find out, have that ripped away from them, find out that it's fake. And what did they sell? What sacrifices did they make to save up the thousands of dollars to buy it? Like, that sucks. There's so many like sad stories right now, and hopefully justice is served, everyone gets their money back, someone goes to jail. But I worry that that won't be the case. Let's see. Down so many rabbit holes. So I don't want to speak for James, but I will say what I would do in this instance. Like if it were $100,000+, the amount that like given what I do with the live streaming, the amount that capital would handicap me. Like I think what he mentioned it in his video, he's facing eBay authenticity guarantee might decline them and return them anyways. Like he might have been preempting something he was going to be forced to do anyways. And props to him if that's the case, because like the amount of marketing that he's getting doing what he's doing, like it's not worth $100,000 surely, but it's worth a lot of money. So props to him if he's preempting eBay authenticity guarantee declining them anyways. That's a brilliant move. But I don't think that's the case anyways. I think he's just being a good guy, doing the right thing. If it were, I could be wrong here, I don't want to speak for James, but like if he had sold $10 million worth of them, at some point I think there's a limit to what his generosity would have been. I think this hit the sweet spot of like, I'm gonna take this one on the chin, I'm gonna have faith in CGC refunding me, and great for him for doing that. Like props to him. Honestly, the number that it was, what did he say, 144,000, I probably wouldn't have / couldn't have done that myself. He's a banker, I'm a humble fisherman. If it were 5 or 10 grand, I probably would have refunded a couple people and dealt with big bad CGC myself. But to be honest, like everyone would have a number, and a lot of people are villainizing Heritage, Fanatics, Golden, eBay. I think it's kind of unreasonable to expect people to do what James is doing. Like great on James for doing it, but it's kind of unreasonable to expect even another multi-million-dollar business, because the issue with that is CGC has a financial guarantee. CGC is the expert. Even auction platforms, even selling platforms, even auction houses will yield to the experts. They will yield to the industry experts, and they probably have something in their terms and conditions. You've probably agreed that like when they sell an item that's authenticated by a third party, the third party's on the hook for that. They're not on the hook for that. So like it's reasonable to me that Heritage, Golden, all these others will wait to see what CGC does. It's great for James to go above and beyond, do his thing, pursue later, but like it's not a requirement whatsoever. It's not a requirement whatsoever. We got my #1 fan in here, Brad. We've got the Helga to my Arnold. We've got Helga Pataki in here doing clips, talking about him bullying me for my shoes. What a great individual that Brad G Cards is. Let's continue on. But yeah, like I trust that James is a smart individual. The worst thing that could happen out of this is for other people to fall and fail because of it. Like I presume that James ran the numbers and he calculated the fact that he could take a 6-figure hit. The worst thing that could happen would be like him taking that hit, CGC doesn't reimburse, and then Z&G goes under. I don't remotely think that's a possibility. I think James is too smart for that. I think he did the calculus on it. And it's like, if he never gets reimbursed, he and his family will just lose that much money. That sucks. That's a huge deal. Hopefully he'll grow more because of it. All that good stuff. All the goodwill that he's getting from the community now. But the last thing you would ever want to see is like, oh, hey, we're gonna, out of the kindness of my heart, Catch 'em All Collectibles is gonna float $1 million. Like say the number was $1 million. Say it was $2 million. If James just floated $2 million and then CGC didn't come back and pay him, and then he went under because of it, it's like now we all lose a great consigning service. That is not how it should have to happen. So like I agree with what Eric Stevens is saying. Let's see. Is PSA canceled now? I'm drinking Coca-Cola. It's just straight, pure Coca-Cola. Has more than one person verified the evidence of the dots on this card? So, yeah, there's been a lot of people crowdsourcing high-res scans. There's been high-res scans being sent and taken from CGC and taken from Fanatics and taken from different websites. So more than one person, yes. Yeah, same with the medical world. If you make a mistake, you call your insurer and they tell you to do nothing. Like CGC, I wouldn't say they're legally bound to do nothing, but if CGC says the wrong thing at the wrong time, if they jump the gun with an emotional response, they will potentially void their insurance, and then they might go bankrupt, and then people might not get paid out. So CGC is doing the only logical, reasonable, responsible thing in slowly generating like a good reply. That is the only way to go about it. Let's see. And had James not done that, if people held it against James, if people hold it against Heritage Golden, I personally think they're doing the wrong thing. I think it's weird to hold it against the selling platform when all the authenticity, like all that's being put on the authenticator. Like that's who it is. It's like all these things, people being mad about someone selling a pack for $13 of Prismatic Evolutions. It's like, be mad at the right people. Be mad at Pokemon for not printing enough. Yeah, I could be wrong. I don't think this will sink CGC, but it remains to be seen. We'll see. This could be, though, so this might not make them go under. This could lose them enough goodwill. This could lose them enough trust that in the coming year, 2 years, 10 years, they could fail where this was like the first cracks forming, and then they go on to fail. I wouldn't lean towards that being the case, but I could be wrong. Let's see. I understand exactly what you're saying, Eric, and I honestly agree. But to be fair, and this is a point that I made in E4, it ended up getting, we were kind of derailing the thread, so it ended up getting removed. But for anyone unfamiliar, for anyone unaware, the way that I understand it is that when you sell a CGC graded card, or even a BGS graded card on eBay, it goes through eBay authenticity guarantee if it's above $250. Those cards go to PSA, and then they get on to the end consumer. So not only did CGC authenticate these, but PSA allowed them to flow through authenticity guarantee. Maybe they're stopping it this week due to all this news, but somebody who says they're involved with PSA, I don't know if they're actually involved with PSA, they said that PSA knew this all along. PSA, if you knew this all along, I highly doubt that, but if you knew it all along, why didn't you post this article? Why didn't you post on E4, on Discord, on Instagram, on YouTube, wherever? Why didn't you guys say that, like, hey, some dummy, some scammer brought all this stuff to us and it was printed in 2024? PSA didn't know this. PSA didn't know this. They were passing them along through authenticity guarantee. To be fair, they were encapsulated. They didn't have access to, like, everything they could have done if it was raw. But props to PSA for not authenticating them. But shame on you, PSA, because you were letting them through authenticity guarantee. If you knew all along, what were you doing? Thank you, PFM, our savior. Let's see. I'm doing better, I think, jumping to current and then going back. Counterfeit ring brought to its knees by a nerd with a magnifying glass is wild. Nerd with a magnifying glass, that's PFM. The highest, like, the highest honors, that is the most, like, said in the nicest way, I can assume. The cabal is finally collapsing. Oh, that's funny. I will get to all other questions. I will do my best to not miss any questions whatsoever, but I might be answering them like half an hour after you ask them. I apologize. I'm always turning negative into positive. With that said, I think it would be an amazing opportunity for CGC and Tag to merge. PokeSun says, I don't think Tag wants anything to do with CGC. That is probably extra true after this week. Tag grades 8 cards a month. They'd switch places with CGC right now, says Spats Cards. Shots fired. Damn. Oof. Spats got the red lights on. Let's see. The lights are not red yet. We got close a couple times. CGC should go back to blue labels and all will be good again. Retro sent off to CGC today. He's keeping it pushing. The only thing that was obvious in this is that CGC has always been the one to grade questionable cards. I mean, every company has graded fake cards. Maybe CGC, like, mathematically, maybe CGC has graded more, to be fair. Like, This is over 1,000 cards as far as I understand, and I think most or all have been graded. This is a huge deal. I'm not trying to downplay the deal it's been, but PSA has graded fake autos, BGS has graded fake cards. Many instances of issues in other hobbies, our hobby as well. I wonder what the market will look like for the real 8 playtest cards or so, or will they be tainted by this fraud? I could be wrong here. I'm too broke to ever own one. I think they go up. I think the stock goes up. If you own one that's already in a case, and it has a 1996 print date, I think stock goes up. The issue though, if a year from now, 2 years from now, if CGC gets a new submission and it has all the right stuff and it has a 1996 print date, the question that I would raise is, did some scumbag, did some like knowledgeable bad person go, and I've heard that you could probably do it if you took your printer and you messed with the firmware, messed with whatever. I think you could trick a printer into thinking that it's January of 1996. I think you could backdate these things with the knowledge. Thankfully, most criminals are dumb. Like, most criminals resort to crime because they're dumbasses. They're pieces of garbage and they're really dumb, and so they try to steal, lie, cheat, all the bad things from other people. Terrible people. Terrible, terrible people. I hope justice arrives to them. Might not, probably won't, sadly. But especially in this hobby, in this moment, it is so easy to make money honorably. It is so easy to make money honestly. And then these scumbags resort to crime, taking money from other people. Like, terrible. Just terrible thing. It sucks. It sucks. Red lights, please. Captain Hindsight, for sure. And if Akubane is culpable or not, I am not entirely sure. I know that there are different things. There are the sheets of illustrators. There are the sheets of 1, 2, 3 cards. I'm not going to delve down that rabbit hole because, like, I already feel like I was above my head on some of the stuff, just glossing over PFM's post. To get into that level, like, I'm so much further out of my element. Yeah, if CGC makes everyone whole, if CGC says, "Whoopsie, we did a boo boo. Here's all your money back," I will continue to grade with them. I will, like, that's all you can do when you make a mistake. This is a big one, but when you make one, you make it right. That's all you can do. Oh man. Remember, Chipotle had multiple E. coli outbreaks and they're still selling burritos today. Chipotle equals CGC. Got it. Oh, man. I do not know who the consigner is. So, one thing that I always say about this industry is that this industry is very oftentimes illiquid. I have theories on who it might be. I wouldn't put James in the situation. Like, he shouldn't answer me if I asked, but I'm not even going to ask. Even when fraudulent cards are involved, I think there's some amount of privacy and trust between a consigner and a consignee. If these were my consigner's cards, if I knew, so there's two different scenarios. If I knew for a fact that my consigner knew that they were fake cards, I would light them up. I would blow them up for sure. If you ever try to sell fake crap to me or through me, I will blow you up if you knowingly do that. If the consigner was duped as well and they don't know, and the most likely scenario I would guess is that James does not know if the consigner knows if they were real or fake. Presumably, there's a pretty solid shot. I think there's a better shot than not that the consigner did not know that the cards were fake. I could be wrong there. That's an assumption. Maybe I'm making an ass out of myself. But yeah, if I were in James' shoes, I would, if I knew they knew, I would light them up. But if it's plausible that they did not know that their cards were fake, I would honor my privacy between my consigner and myself. Absolutely. So yeah, on Walrus's question, absolutely not. Like I would not want to consign with someone who's talking about like my cards or talking about my relationship with them unless I was giving them approval to or whatever. But yeah, like Amplitude says consigner knows. Probably like I would lean towards no. I would lean towards they probably don't know. But yeah, I feel like I have an idea of who it could be, but I don't know. And if it is who I think it might be, I am as confident as I can be that this would be news to them. I genuinely don't know though. I genuinely don't know. Why would the consigner pay back a deal's a deal and we were all duped? But it's not so, to hear that a consigner got paid 100 grand and then the money's gone. That's not surprising. Like I have had consigners who said like, "Hey, I'm funding a wedding. Hey, I'm paying off my student loans. Hey, I'm putting a down payment on a house." To hear that the money's already gone is not overly surprising. The amount of illiquidity in the hobby, the amount of cash flow issues that people have, even people who have $100,000 worth of stuff to sell. Yeah, it's rampant. It's rampant. James literally has his cash flow situation in a good spot. I have my cash flow situation in a pretty good spot, but it's a highly common thing in this industry that people are just running on fumes, and it's a scary thing if and when the market starts turning, right? If and when the market starts turning, what could end up happening? But yeah, let me continue on. Sebastian, I love it when people do the stop sign. Shout out to Sebastian for the stop sign. What is the current barrier of entry for a Pokemon business like? What's the minimum amount of capital, product, inventory needed to start? Modest living, not trying to be a Pokemillionaire. I would say 50 bucks. If you have 50 bucks, you have enough money to start a Pokemon business. You can open a business bank account. Well, maybe let's say 500 to be safe. 50 is maybe making it a little bit too accessible. Not really, but I'll cover a couple of the fees that you would expect. With 50 bucks, with 500 bucks, sorry, my revised amount, you can go to your county building and you can get a reseller permit. And in my county, it was $35. I think in some of them it's like 80 or 100. But in my county, it's called a certificate of authority. Depending on where you live, it might be more, it might be less, it might be free. You can get a business credit card for free. You can get an EIN for free. You can get a business bank account. Some of them might require a $5 minimum deposit, $50 minimum deposit. But with $500, you can start. You can buy bulk. You can sift bulk. You can sell the hits on TCG Player, the bigger cards, the playable trainers, the playable cards. You can buy one lot on eBay. You can start with your childhood binder. To be fair, you could start with $0. I started with 5 grand. I started with 5 grand. I could have started with 50 bucks. It would have just been slower. I bought, I sold, I bought, I sold, I bought, I sold. I built a big backlog of cards. I grew my capital. But all I have today was started with 5 grand 10 years ago. And whatever amount you start at, the slower it'll be. But you could grow. Someone starting today with 500 bucks could have $1 million worth of inventory within a few years. It's insane, the opportunities that abound. Like, it is not too late. It's not going to be too late anytime soon. But yeah, like there's so much opportunity. It is insane. Yes, the prices are higher than they were 10 years ago, but the liquidity is so much higher, exponentially higher than the prices are. It is, yeah, ripping ships, bulk, buying, grading, selling, all different kinds of things. Geographical arbitrage, so many plays. Retail scalping. I wouldn't steer you down that path, but a lot of people do it. You could start with 500 bucks. Amplitude says for 500 bucks you could buy a color printer. Let's see. Retrospect says, with all this craziness surrounding fake Japanese product, I wonder if there's a source for 100% authentic, lightning fast Japanese sealed. Shout out to _retrospects on Instagram. If you are a mod, feel free to drop a link to Retrospecs in chat. That is where I get all my Japanese product. And yeah, had to throw the plug in there. Very happy consumer of retro services. Oh man. Ironically, they probably made those prototypes to buy out Moonbreons. That is devious. Is the entire boom due to all this money that the scammers made selling their fake cards to buy out Moonbreons and Van Gogh Pikachus, and that's why everything's going up? Did they cause the whole boom? If Dan's a brokey, I don't even want to know what I am. Oh, man. I'm not going to gloss over it. Walrus says, Gem Mint real quiet. Does Pillar Hood absolve you from wrongdoing? Zach obviously was involved in the cards. There are videos of him talking about it. Like, he owned some amount of them. I don't entirely know fully what he owned, what he didn't own. I don't know the full story behind all that. I am as confident as I can be that he's not involved in any of the wrongdoing. Like, but it's wise to not talk. Like, people feel like, and if you own it, if you own one of these cards, you deserve eventually to be made whole. That will be done through CGC. But if I ever owned any, I wouldn't have known. I would have bought and maybe sold and whatever. Like, I don't know what I'd do exactly. I don't know what I'd say and do exactly because I'm not in that situation, thankfully. But if he bought them thinking they were real, sold them thinking that they were real, he's done nothing wrong. He yeah. Like, I don't know what more to say than that. Whatever he would come out and say, he'll probably just be like piled on by the rabble, pitchfork, torch crowd. And if he had no knowledge of it, that would be wrongfully so. So, like, yeah, I think it's reasonable to just, like, wait for CGC. CGC are the ones that everyone needs to hear from. CGC are the ones. That is, it is their name on top of the label, on top of the slab, that said that these were real. Let's go on Brandon G. I'm an easy 2X. I'm an easy 2X on YouTube, so you can catch up. CGC should go to jail. We should just build a jail entirely around the CGC headquarters when everyone's there. On the middle of a workday, they'll never know what hit them. We'll just build a jail all the way around it. That's the way to go. Fat Belly says, no one bringing up Gem Mint because they try to buddy him. I just talked about it before I saw this comment. I'm as confident as I can be that Zach would have had no involvement, no knowledge of this going on. Yeah, that's... I've been like fronting a lot of inventory or money or whatever with Zach in deals both ways. He consigned his Charizard through me, $217,500 card, and then we've gone the other way where I've been out to him on trust, and he's never disobeyed my trust. He's never given me any reason to not trust him fully. Z stands for Zintegrity. Dan can do 144K. He's just being humble. I could not without risk of like stoppages to certain parts of my business. Like, if I needed to write a check for 144 grand in a couple weeks, I could make it happen. But without risk, like, if, and I guess to be fair, like, James isn't writing a check for 144 grand today. Once they come back to him, then he's refunding. So maybe he's doing some finagling. Maybe he's moving some cash around. But yeah, being completely open, honest, transparent, if the magnitude were the same level, I would not have done what James did. I would not have refunded $100,000 because it would have provided too much. Like PK just quit his job to pursue working for me full time. Me fronting 100 grand cash to people who have their issues with CGC, it would be unfair risk to me and my family. It would be unfair risk to PK and his family for me to front all that. So, like, being completely open, honest, transparent, if I were in James's shoes, where I am financially as a humble fisherman, I wouldn't have been able to afford that. I could not have afforded the risk that would be on me. And I don't know James's finances. Maybe he's got an extra zero in his bank account. I don't know. But in any case, what he's doing is great, and I hope he's made whole for it. Basic says I run into Brad G from time to time here in SA at shows. Seems like a nice and chill guy in person. He likes to chirp. He likes to chirp. Oh no. I see the live chat. Let me scroll down. So you're saying you have W2 employees now. Ooh, PK works for you. I don't remember exactly what I said. I'm sure someone's gonna clip it. But I misspoke. I misspoke. So I'm a business, Catch 'em All Collectibles Incorporated. PK Enterprises Limited Worldwide. I don't know what he calls his business, but I do business to business with PK. I do business to business with Ponga, independent contractors, 1099, whatever you want to call it. They are not my employees. But to some extent, PK quitting his job to do Pokemon full time. His biggest income is from live streaming for me through his company that he runs that subcontracts to me his labor. I am responsible to some extent. If I fail now, if I failed 6 months ago, I would have failed my family. If I failed today, the effects of it will be felt by Ponga's family to some extent. The effects of me failing would be felt by PK's family to more of an extent, because he quit his job because he has kids and stuff too. But yeah, that's Fat Belly. You're saying a lot of things. I have met Zach in person many times. I know him very well. Everyone goes on live stream saying Gemma is a good guy. He is a good guy. I've seen it. I've felt it. I'm speaking to my own firsthand experiences. You're just chirping about someone you don't know. To be fair to you, you're chirping about someone you have no idea whatsoever. Zach is deep into the hobby. Zach is deep into relationships with a lot of people. This is not people just defending, like the cabal defending the cabal. This is like me as a human being defending another human being who I feel like I know quite well. And yeah, like there are instances, and I'm going to remove me and Zach from this whole thing. There are instances in life where people are like, oh my God, he was my neighbor my whole life. I never would have expected. I thought he was a great guy. Like there are instances where those things have fallen flat, and people who thought someone was, and it didn't turn out to be that. But like, yeah, people say nice things about Zach because Zach has done nice and done positive for the community, done positive for Pokemon for a long time. So it's not just like people baselessly, needlessly defending others because, oh, he's another rich guy in Pokemon, let me defend him, cabal, whatever. It's not that. It's, I know him as a human being. I don't know him as much as some people do. Some people know him more, some people know him less. But like to the full extent that I've known him, I know him as a good person. So like that's exactly what I'm saying. Nothing more, nothing less. It's just weird. It's weird how people get and maybe Fat Belly, if I'm wrong, call me out. I'm kind of calling you out here, kind of putting you on the spot. But like if you know Zach, if Zach has wronged you in any way and you know him to be a bad person, spill it in chat. Like you're on. I'll give you the mic. It's just weird how people get sometimes. Let me continue on after that little rant. Where am I now? And I'm all for. Fat Belly says money makes people do crazy things, and a handful of people were in on the money glitch. We just need to know who. I'm all for like finding out who, bring them to justice. I want to see people in jail, but like you need to be careful. Target the right individuals. You need to target the right individuals, and right now the right individual, the right entity to target. Put negative energy towards CGC. No, like people get so effing crazy. Do not give anyone death threats. It would not surprise me if people have gotten death threats about us already. Do not give people death threats. Do not do anything obscene, crazy. But like, be angry at CGC. Rabble. Don't actually grab a pitchfork. Don't actually grab a torch. Go downvote a couple things on their website. Whatever. On their Instagram. Go dislike a couple of their YouTube videos. But like, be patient. It's a very emotional time. Breathe. And the crazy thing with me is like so many times in life, the people that are the loudest, the people that are the most crazy about all of it, they're not even affected. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. It's happening. It's happening. The lights are red. Oh no, I forgot. I forgot. I turned the lights red, but I didn't turn down the other lights. I forget which ones. I didn't make a button, clearly. This is wrong. This is still wrong. This is right. This is right. The amount of times that the loudest people, the people that are the most caring about something, the people that are the most like, they have no skin in the game. It doesn't even affect them. Like, what are we doing? Just let CGC deal with it. They have a financial guarantee of authenticity. They might they might not honor it. If they don't honor it, then we like get a little more riled up. We rattle the cage a little bit. We get them to honor their word. The financial guarantee of great and authenticity is their word. And to be honest, there's been times in the past, I'm not going to turn this video into that, but there's been times in the past that other companies, and maybe CGC themselves, have been let off way too easily when the authenticity guarantee was there, and they're just like, nope, screw you, we're not going to do that. And then everyone just lets them off scot-free. Like, what are we doing here? So everyone is allowed an opinion. Everyone is allowed to comment. But when you start like throwing names under the bus of people that you don't know and that you don't know if they're involved, that's when you've gone too far. Like, do not say these things about like, oh, I think this guy. If you know things, bring them forward. But if you're just like, oh, I'm just theorizing. Oh, guys, I'm toying with people's reputations over like these thoughts that I have. Stop it. That's so bad and weird. I don't know why that just went off, but that light blinks all the time. Let me lower the light on it some. I don't know why that light blinks. But let me continue on. So with the Patreon, you get access to Graded Edge. Within Graded Edge, you get access to like grading plays, what you're talking about. That's yeah, that's Graded Edge that does that. Let me turn, there we go. A little bit later. I think that's the play. And as Pokesun, like I would lean towards the consigner, more likely not knowing. Like using logic, using reason. Most people didn't know that these were fake. Some small amount of people knew it. And honestly, if you were involved, it would be better to be in the shadows. If you were involved, would you go on Instagram lives? Would you go on YouTube lives and talk about it? Maybe that ages poorly, and maybe there were some people involved that talked about it very publicly. But like, if you were the one printing them, you would probably try to like be in the shadows. You would probably try to be like, ooh, here. You would take less money. You would fire sale them so that the other people could go and take the risk and do the grading and selling. And you would probably be multiple steps. But maybe, to be fair, maybe I'm giving the criminal too much benefit of the doubt for like being smart. Criminals are really dumb, thankfully, as I said. So yeah, I'm gonna continue on. This is always the worst take, and I don't know if why doesn't he say something if he doesn't want people dogging his reputation? When people say that silence is admission of guilt, that is the dumbest fucking thing ever. That is so dumb. I hate that. I hate when people use that, because whatever he says, people are gonna rabble, pitchfork. It's so easy. It's so easy to say what you would do. You're not involved. You're not affected. Like, to be honest, the commentary is just wild to me. It's so wild to me to say what you would do, what you wouldn't do, when it's a hypothetical that will never be the case. It's so easy. It's so easy to say what you would do when you're not involved, not affected. It's just so weird too. It's so weird to say like, oh, well, he should say something. People will hang him. People will drag him if he says the wrong thing the wrong way. People are very entitled and weird. some of them are entitled to something. Some of them are entitled to financial compensation to be reimbursed. But yeah, the lights are red. I'm gonna try to. Yeah, and if you had a brain, if you had a lawyer, your lawyer would tell you you can't talk. Do not talk. Do not say anything about anything. That's that's what you have to do if you have a brain. So yeah. But when people say like, oh, he's silent, so he's admitting guilt. No, no. Get Akabane on the next Poke Flips. Problem solved. Is this the language I expect the rest of the night? I can't have the speakers on with family around such potty mouth. I apologize for my F-bomb. Let me continue on. I know I skipped a bunch of questions. Oh, we have admission of guilt. We have admission of the guilt. I made the cards. It was me. Spats cards. We got them. We got them. If you are doing business in the Pokemon hobby to the 7 and 8 figure level, you likely have an attorney who helped you form your corporation. Like, I have an attorney that I've consulted on certain times. Like, you're just talking from a perspective that is so out of the realm of how you and where you interact. And I'm not trying to like talk down on you. I'm just speaking matter of factly about he's operating business in Pokemon at a level that he reasonably would have an attorney. It's just like common sense. I have an accountant. I have an attorney that I've used to form my corporation. I have an attorney that I've consulted on various legal things with respect to my corporation and other things in the space. Like, that's just a thing at a certain level. I don't know. I don't know. Let's find where I was. I know I'm jumping all around, but I'm trying to stay up on topic, and I'm trying to also answer the old questions. Hoot's almost a month into no soda, and it's not fun, but he's got to make the sacrifice for now. I'm drinking less soda than I normally do. Sparkling water with lemon is mostly what I drink now. Thomas says, I cracked all my CGC slabs today, going to be sending off the PSA shortly. You absolutely can do that. I think that's like an overreaction to the news personally, but everyone is entitled to do with their cards what they want to do. If you knew all of PSA's history, you might not be so keen to work with them in their entirety either. BGS, same thing goes for everybody. That's my take. How much does the government take at the end of the year for 1099 for selling cards? Trying to figure out how much profit I need to make. So depending on your income bracket, if you make $10,000 profit through a 1099 income, you might owe zero if you're in the lowest bracket, if you have no other incomes. If you make $10 million a year and then you have an additional 1099 for $100 or for $10,000, you'll owe over 40% of that between federal, between state, between other things. So there's no single percentage that you pay on a 1099. You pay a percentage based on your other income, based on what marginal tax bracket you're in. Let's see. So to be fair to PSA, these were presented to PSA. PSA declined authenticating them. To be unfair, to be like critical of PSA, they didn't do the same tests. They were passing these through their authenticity guarantee, the CGC graded ones. Had they taken these in, had they known about dot matrices in scanners and printers, they could have debunked these, and they could have been declining these months ago from eBay authenticity guarantee. So to be critical of PSA, clearly they didn't do enough either. They had these in their possession, as far as I understand, and they declined to authenticate, so they did better than CGC, but they didn't do as good as PFM. So PFM wins. PFM, PSA, CGC. one thing that could come up that you just brought to me is ZNG might get good PR for what they did, but legally he should have waited. If ZNG graded them, CGC responsibility may only be liable for grading fees, not the value of resale. So if James's consigner is the original submitter, James might lose all that money because the original submitter is only afforded the grading fee for things further deemed inauthentic. If James's consigner was the original submitter, I didn't even think about that angle. But the CGC authenticity guarantee, as well as the PSA authenticity guarantee, they don't apply to the original submitters. So yeah, if his consigner is the original submitter, James will not get that money back because unless it counts as he's the buyer, since he made the buyers whole, he took the cards back, so he like bought them from his consigner for that amount of money. That's like sketchy legalese that I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Fat Belly says, I'm asking questions and being real. When you're asking the questions with respect to like, you're not just asking questions. I'm going to push back on that. You're saying that, oh, pillars like Gem Mint get a pass. No one questions them. I talked about it before you even said that. Maybe some people don't talk about other people, whatever. I feel weird about it. I don't like talking about other people when they're not here. But you're not just asking questions. You're saying more than that. You're alluding to the fact strongly that like he's getting a pass because people know him, because people are buddy, blah, blah, blah. If someone I know does something very, very wrong and that ever gets like discovered, and I'm not going to just completely forgive that. I'm not completely going to forget that. Like I'm going to hold them to even higher standards than I would hold some random person that I don't know. So you're more than just asking questions. Absolutely. I will stop grading with CGC when the consumer stops buying CGC slabs. Absolutely. How was the person that was involved related to Pokemon? Are you talking about... I don't know who graded the cards. I don't know the whole story about Akabane. I don't know... Let me scroll. I'm so lost now because I've been all over the place. Timmy says, I'm just tuning in. I don't know if you've answered this, but if you were one of the leads at CGC, what would you be doing to investigate? How would you protect your company while doing a thorough job? I mean, all what they need to do is they need to deactivate every cert. They need to take every card back in house. They need to pay out the guarantee to those who were affected. Original submitters will get screwed. Like original submitters that bought them raw, graded them, will be destroyed because they paid a lot of money to Akabane's middlemen, and they will not get the full market value of the cards back. So they're wrecked. They need to sue. They need to legally pursue whoever they bought them from. Whoever knowingly sold fakes, broke the law, would be on the hook for all of this. But there's the saying, you can't get blood from a stone. Have they already spent it on Lambos? Have they already spent it on whatever it may be? If ultimately up the chain we find out who did this, which hopefully we do, hopefully the FBI, if they're on the hook for $10 million, CGC's insurance company, CGC themselves, would likely sue the people who made the fakes, and they would be legally, I'm not like a lawyer, but I presume that they would be legally entitled to pursue the original forger for the money, but like the money's probably long gone. And the thing is, like the forgeries might have been sold for say 2 million, graded, authenticated, that buoyed their price to $20 million or whatever it may be. So the original seller of the frauds doesn't even have all the money that the current market value of the frauds are. So like it's a messy situation all around. It's very, very messy, but I would take every card in. I would read the whole E4 thread. I would reach out and pay a high consulting fee to PFM, and I would find out, do all the due diligence, get caught up with all his, and then I would go from there. But moving ahead, it's messy. It's super messy. I would be more cautious moving ahead. Like all the money is in grading these things. Why are we playing around so much? I understand the allure. You want to grade the Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta. You want to grade all the crazy stuff. But like, think about it. only 1,000 or 2,000 cards were graded. What did they get? What did they get? 40 grand, 50 grand in grading fees? And they opened themselves up to $20 million in liability? Who did the math on that? If I were a grading card company, send me these. I want to grade these. I want all my cards that I grade to be pop 50,000. They're everywhere. It's like, why would you mess around? They're playing with fire. They're playing with fire for a little notoriety. And sometimes when you play with fire, you get burned. And CGC got burned. So, yeah, I don't know. This is the last time I'm going to mention it. Like I'm playing along. I'm entertaining your questions, but like I've not seen anyone definitively say there is no way any individual is not involved. I've not seen anyone say there's no way XYZ is not involved. So I don't know what content you're watching. Maybe you're watching different content than me, but everyone should be investigated. Everyone who's in possession, absolutely. The FBI, if the FBI gets on this, they should and will question Gem Mint Pokemon. They should and will question everybody who touched these things. That needs to happen. So like I don't know what more you're looking for there, but yeah, I'm probably we're gonna move on. But hopefully this does go to the FBI. Hopefully this is investigated to the fullest extent. Hopefully the individuals responsible end up in jail for a long time. Hopefully they get sued for everything they're worth and then thrown in jail, throw away the key. That's what I want to have happen. From now on, this is how you go live. In the last one, because I hadn't seen this question yet, I don't know. I don't know how Gem Mint got his exactly. I know some people met with Akabane. I don't know if he did. I don't know who did exactly. There were a lot of multiple middlemen involved. It is so messy, and I just don't know. No idea. Oh, and I have it on good authority that Retro's boxes did not come from Akabane, so they're kosher. Do you think when all this has blown over, CGC will still retain consumer loyalty, or is this going to harm them in the long term? So I think that if CGC makes everyone whole, if they pay out multi-million dollars, I think they will be fine. I think, yeah, a mistake was made, a massive one. If they make it right, though, I think they'll survive 10 years from now. PK used to be an engineer. Well, PK is an engineer until Friday. 2 more days, PK is an engineer, and then he's full-time Pokemon. So here's more information. In the interview with Alt, I believe Gem Mint said he bought them through CGC with a written letter guarantee from CGC that they were from Akabane. So yeah, that's more than I know. I did not watch the entire interview with Zach, to be honest. I frankly have not cared that much about these cards. I looked into it a little bit. It's like, that some people think they're real, some people think they're not. They're kind of cheap relative to some other cards that I've owned. Kind of cool if they are history, but like I opted to not buy. So yeah, I don't know. MJ Holdings. MJ Holdings. Hey, Dan, are you interested in acquiring more product? I am always interested in acquiring more product. MJ Holdings. There's no way. Does MJ Holdings have a YouTube channel? That would be funny. MJ Holdings cross Dan mystery packs coming soon. Brad says, I agree with Dan on Zach, and I never agree with Dan. And I've been in the hobby for 10 years. There have been big names. There have been big names that have been caught scamming. I don't think ever a name as big as Gem Mint Pokemon, and I don't anticipate that to change anytime soon. But yeah, it's we'll see what ends up happening. Hopefully the FBI investigates and all the individuals responsible are found. I'm not even getting to the most ridiculous comments that were being made, and I'm having a hard time glossing over them. But yeah, Fat Belly, you were going hard, not just making questions. Let's see. I think the biggest individuals that need to be talked to first are Akabane himself. Hopefully the FBI will be reaching out to him at some point. And then CGC. Like, that's where it needs to start. All the middlemen, everyone will be uncovered at some point. And hopefully everyone will be investigated, interrogated, and yeah. Let's see where we're at. I think I'm getting close to catching up. Would Collector Dan have been sad that the creator of PTCG is allegedly scamming the community? I mean, evil capitalist business Dan is sad. Like, this is not good news. Some people are dancing on, like, oh, hey, you dummy. I can't believe you bought these. These were obviously fake. I've seen people, like, maybe not on E4 as much, but I've seen people on Instagram. I've seen people in PokeBeach comments. I've seen people in YouTube comments, like, oh, hey, all the dumb rich morons who bought these things, like, ha, 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 I'm glad you lost all your money. People are so wild. People are so bad. That's so weird. I've seen people rooting for CGC to go bankrupt. I don't think CGC did this knowingly. I think never attribute malice to that which can be adequately explained by incompetence. I think CGC was just incompetent when it came to these. So I think that's the most likely story with most people involved, is that they didn't know any better. Ignorance, incompetence, whatever it may be. And somewhere, though, there is malice, there is intent, there is fraud. We need to find it, and we need to be careful not throwing it around on people that may or may not be involved in that shady part of it. Like, yeah, it's just, it's wild to say, like, well, I have no proof that X person isn't a serial killer. Like, you can't just say things like that. Yeah. Let's see. You'll never be able to please everyone in these situations, unfortunately. Allison Silverland says, I think the woke agenda is an agenda about letting children act spoiled and like parents. The world is having a wake-up call and we're having some balance. I see good things ahead for this world. I don't know what I said that led to that, or maybe it was a comment in the live chat, but the big break went very, very well. I think I might let me appreciate you, Jacob Gordon, for subscribing. Retro says won't check the tracker, but will check the comment section of drama posts. LOL. So when I knew I was gonna go live, I feel some amount of duty to like educate myself on what's happening before I talk about it. Unfortunately, and this is not pointed towards anyone in particular, I think I'm gonna try to, at some point, I'm gonna try to transition out of red light, because I have some other not red light topics to talk about. So at some point in the next 10 or 15 minutes, I'm gonna try to come out of the red lights. We'll see what happens. I need, maybe I don't. Do I need a video to transition back out of the red lights? Probably not, but we'll see what happens. I think I said it earlier, actually. Like, yeah, I started my live stream saying it's so refreshing when somebody does novel investigation and they put it out there for peer review, and they don't just like chirp. They don't just like so many people. All they are is 2 cents. All they are is chirp, 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 chirp. There's no substance. They're no, like, I felt obligated to listen to a fair amount of videos. I felt obligated to read most of the thread before I talked about all this. I caveated it. I disclaimed it. I'm largely out of my element. I've not done nearly the groundwork that most of the people in the E4 thread have done. But it's just wild to me. Like, this whole world we live in, how people will just run their mouths about stuff they have no clue on. And that is like, that is like an epidemic. That is an epidemic. That is like we are it's very bad. It's very bad how quickly people will just run their mouths about things they have no clue on and not say that they're like talking out of their asses while they're doing it. I will do my best to tell you what I know and what I don't know. And with these things, like I tried conveying PFM's novel new discoveries the best that I could. I don't know why that goes off and on. But yeah, let me continue on. We'll try to come out of the red lights soon. I'm going to do it now with a break. Hopefully I don't have to take too many more questions about the... I know it's the title and the thumbnail. People will come and asking about it. But I'm going to try to pivot off of that now. 2 hours almost. 2 hours I think is plenty. We're back blue and orange. We're on brand. I don't know why my other lights... I'm missing one. Oh, there it goes. I have my other light now. So the break went really well. I broke, so for anyone who doesn't know, I broke with PK on site at his house. I broke a base set unlimited booster box on Saturday night. It went very well. I will likely, in one of my future recap videos, I'll likely just give the details behind it. I've had some people ask me like what did you net? How much did you make? Probably not going to share it tonight. But if you watched, you know, like it went well. I paid $17.5 for the box. My break even would have been a little over 500 a pack. A lot of packs went in the high 5s, high 6s. Some went high 7s towards the end when the holos were getting juiced. But we pulled the Charizard. We pulled the Blastoise. It went very well. I was wondering why it felt a little darker. So this needs to come back up a little bit. There we go. Now it feels right. Now it feels right. But yeah, that will not be the last WotC box we break. We will do more in the future for sure. Cashmere Fire says, hair looking thin up top. I'm telling you, the red lights get me going because they go onto the bald spot. That wavelength of light just does something to me. Absorbing through the thin scalp. That is what does it. So the red lights actually have a scientific effect on me. That the nanometer wavelength of red light, it just it does things to my brain. So that's why I went back blue and orange. There's a couple other questions I need to cover, I think. What would be your dream team to defeat the Pokemon League? Can be any generation. Oof, I like that question. Chan Free. I'm one who, like, whoever my starter was, I've got them till the end. They're with me till the end. So I played Yellow. I had Pikachu till the end. I didn't evolve him. So Pikachu. Because, yeah, Crystal was my favorite, though. So Crystal, if it was Crystal, it would probably be for Alligator. I think I picked Totodile most above the others, but I don't have a major preference between the 3 starters in Gen 2. Gen 1, it's Pikachu from Yellow. I got all the other 3 starters because of it. But I would say Pikachu, Dragonite's a monster, Gengar, gotta get that link cable out, gotta trade with a friend. So Pikachu, Gengar, Dragonite. If we're counting Lap 2, I'm gonna say Mewtwo. You gotta have Mewtwo on your team. Zapdos, and then the 6th one would be, who did I use a lot? I'm trying to think who else I used a lot. I definitely ran Zapdos and Articuno a fair bit. Having 3 legendaries is just like unfair, but that's definitely what I did a lot after the first lap. I just had like Mewtwo. I never used Moltres much. I didn't even have a fire guy on my team. Wasn't fire fairly weak? I feel like if you had an ice, I'm trying to think, like you had Bruno, you had Agatha, I think you had most of your bases covered without a fire. So I think I used to run Zapdos, Articuno, Dragonite, Mewtwo, Pikachu, and Gengar. I think I used to use something like that, but thanks for bringing us back into the blue and orange lights. I believe PSA number 1, I believe that does have a history of like having been trimmed or something. I don't know entirely though. The FBI has investigated every company you know in the space, aside from CGC maybe, because they were too new, but now CGC is going to get the treatment. CGC is joining the club of all the other companies in the industry. eBay, PWCC, which was turned into Fanatics, like everyone at the high level, everyone has been investigated by the FBI. I'm going to do my best to never be deserving of an FBI investigation here at Catch 'em All Collectibles Incorporated. Let's see. PK did not pull the Raichu. So we did pull the Charizard. We did pull the Blastoise. One of my new goals for 2025. Well, maybe not for 2025. One of my new goals in the hobby is to get PK to pull a Raichu. And I need to ask Ponga. Maybe Ponga will let me know when he listens back to this. If he listens back to this. Ponga, what card do you have to pull? I think Aquapolis. I think Crystal Lugia is the one he wants to pull. I wanna make my independent contractors, my business to business relationship. I wanna allow them to open cards that they likely would never be able to otherwise. I was able to do it through my own journey years ago, opening every box. I want to make some of their dreams come true in opening cards that they likely would have never otherwise done, or it would have been very expensive to do. So yeah, hopefully we eventually get PK to open another base box and to open a Raichu. And then hopefully Ponga gets to open his Crystal Lugia someday. As far as I understand, yes, eBay authenticity guarantee will only check that it's an authentic slab. But like, theoretically, PSA had in hand these cards, they declined to grade them. If they knew about the dot codes, if they knew about 2024 print date, they would have like not even passed those slabs through. Clearly they didn't know about that. Basic says, I was able to deduct literally 98% of my income. Amazing CPA. Always consult the professionals. Ideally consult professionals who know what they're doing, because sometimes the professionals are wrong. Nick doesn't return shopping carts and you look the other way. Not only did I not look the other way, I've called Nick out on that many, many times. I've called out Nick many, many times, but I can't change the man. I've tried to get him canceled multiple times, but people just deal with it. People live with it. People go into his eBay live streams every night and support the man, the monster that doesn't return his shopping carts. Yeah, there were over 1,000 of these, I believe, across Alpha, Beta, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, all those things. The base box break went well. Someone needs to question Jason Page. I actually listened before I went live. I got amped up for the live by listening to Jason Page's YouTube. He dropped that Sumbreon video, that music video. Did anyone see Sumbreon? That was something. That was something. That got me all amped up, ready for the live stream. Hopefully this does go to the FBI. Yeah, we definitely boom in LMAO. I mean, when you start talking international trade from Japan across international lines, across multiple states, you're talking 7-8 figures worth of value. I think this is fully and only FBI jurisdiction, right? I'm not a professional in the law space, but I think this is like fully FBI territory. Oh man. I'm not trying to like hate you. I'm just trying to like preserve the innocent until proven guilty of other people. I feel like a lot of stones were being casted and a lot of unfair statements were being made. And that was before I even got to the craziest ones. I think there were some crazy comments made that were just wild to put out there for someone who I think would likely not be involved whatsoever. But yeah, trying to move on. Retro says, remember in that live we did with Brian and Alex, I said that some big company was going to make a big boo-boo as my spicy 2025 prediction. Speaking of that live stream, how many videos have we gotten since that live stream? I heard regular videos were coming. This should be your video for Monday. I am Nostradamus. I predicted that this would happen. Give your input on the throw your 2 cents in along with everyone else's. Please make more content, Retro. What are you doing? You got like 500 subscribers on that live stream and you're not making more. Anonymous Bob, nice to see you in here. So down below somewhere, the only merch I have live, I believe, is a shirt and then the hat that Gengar's wearing back there. You can't even see Gengar's face because of the MetaZoo box, but Gengar back there is wearing the hat. Or maybe the hat's not even on there. Maybe it's just a shirt and a playmat. But I have so much to do and merch doesn't pay well. But I am writing a note again. There's probably another note somewhere else on my desk to update my merch, get the hat back on there. I think I got a hoodie on there per the request of Retro. So maybe there's a hoodie and a shirt and a playmat, but they're down. I believe they're down below me somewhere. There's a fourth wall website that you can go to and then buy stuff. And I make like $1 to $3 per item if you buy them. Retro, make more videos now. You said you were going to. You said you were going to. Oh, appreciate you, Mr. Walrus. Dropping the link. FBI agent. That's my final question for now. Off the record, though, what do you think about PCETBs? It's funny because I actually had an insurance claim before that I had to make. I had to leave. I had to do police reports to get all that stuff taken care of. And I had funny conversations with a couple of the police officers, like talking about their childhood binder, and nothing like what should I invest in. But a lot of them were shocked to find, well, a lot of them. 2 of the 5 different people I talked to were like very shocked at the value, and I ended up showing them a couple cards. Some of them came into my house and I gave a report, and I was showing them some cards and talking about values, and they're like, "Oh my god, this is crazy." Daddy Donkey Kong says people are so naughty. People are so naughty. I think I said that. I think he's just quoting me there. Glass half full. These are now a limited collectible with history. Yeah, and to be fair, not many will survive this because most will be sent back to CGC so that people can get their authenticity guarantee reimbursement. So the few people who might opt to keep theirs, maybe you only spent $1,000, $2,000, maybe decide the story is worth more than that to you. They're gonna be super rare moving ahead. The ones that are in a slab, right? They can be printed at any point. All the ones that were printed in 2024. Dan gets a comment. Hey Dan, I quit soda. Dan quietly sips soda in his face. Oh man. I don't know if that Scyther collector was Pikachu or not, but I know he is a Scyther collector. But yeah, like there's a lot of sad stories out there about this, like collectors thinking they had a part of history and then just finding out they got duped. It's all unfortunate. So Sky wants to know any updates on Trollin' Toad. I did get some updates. Where did it just go? Any updates on Trollin' Toad? So I spoke with, I've been told that I can share this. I was told a fair bit of information. I cannot share it all, but hopefully what I can share will suffice for people who are affected. I spoke with last week the owner of Trollin' Toad. He offered to make me whole financially. Like I was owed multi 5 figures. I was owed over $30,000, and communication with Trollin' Toad Evo was very sparse. It was very hard to get a hold of them. I put in payout requests, and my payout requests were not being paid. They used to be paid every Monday, and that started lapsing. That started being delayed in December. And it was slow, and I sent an email, and then they paid it out. And it's like, oh, it's fine, a little bit slow, whatever. Kind of sucks, but like, then they really slowed. And then I posted an Instagram story a couple weeks ago, and I said, hey, does anyone know anyone at CGC? Because like, I tried calling, no one answers. I tried emailing, no one answers. I don't know what to do. I almost talked to my attorney. I have an attorney, not on retainer or anything, but like I have an attorney I used before. I was contemplating like having them write something up to send to them to like get a response from them. Thankfully, I didn't have to do that. I know people who know people who knew people that worked at Trollin' Toad. I got them on the phone. I barked my way up the chain all the way to the owner. Got him on the phone. Last week, he offered to pay me everything that was owed. And I said, like, that's great. I appreciate that. But I understand it's kind of messy for you to have to do that. Could you just talk through the proper channels and get me paid through the proper channels? Last week, that's where we left off. That was going to happen. It didn't end up happening. I reached out to him again yesterday or Monday, and he ended up paying me. 30 minutes before I went live, I was made financially whole. I still do have inventory with Troll and Toad, but I spoke with the owner. It is not a solvency issue. This is what I was told. So this is not me saying in absolute terms. This is me communicating what I was told from the person, the owner of Troll and Toad, who gave me the money I was owed. It's not a solvency issue. There was a glitch of sorts in their system, and everything was mark paid, is the way that I understand it. All the buy lists were mark paid. Thousands of buy lists were mark paid. They weren't all paid. Some were, some weren't. So it's a manual process. I've been assured, I've actually been given a time frame that is very aggressive to pay them all back in full. I hesitate to say the time frame because it almost feels too optimistic, but you will be pleased, I think, after how long you might have waited for your buy list, after how long you might have waited for your Evo payment. They'll be coming soon. Payments will be coming soon. If they don't come by next week, the timetable that I was told will have been lapsed. So if you're due a payment from Troll and Toad, they're not going bankrupt. Things are going on. Big things are going on with them. Expect to hear more about Troll and Toad in the coming weeks and months, likely. I wouldn't say hours or days. I would say weeks and months. Expect to hear more from Troll and Toad in the coming weeks and months. I'm sure I'll be able to talk about more in the future. But Troll and Toad Evo, as you formerly knew it, even though that email came out last week, that's... I can't explain fully what that was. I mostly know what it was, but it was weird. Troll and Toad is not coming back to the extent that it was communicated in that email. Definitely not in the time frame that it was communicated in that email. It said that it was reopening last Wednesday while I was owed a bunch of money. So, like, clearly that didn't happen. They sent out a follow-up email saying, like, oh, hey, we were kidding. We got way too much response. Like, that's not happening. But I can assure you that I talked to the proper people. I was a squeaky wheel. I was owed a very large amount of money. I was made whole. Everyone will be made whole. I've been communicated, and that should happen soon. So, like, hopefully, I know that's pretty vague, but I had a conversation with him. I told him, like, private conversations are private. If I was scammed, if I had all my inventory stolen, and I say this, so, like, don't think that, oh, Dan got his money. He doesn't have skin in the game anymore. They have 50 grand of my inventory still. Troll and Toad still has 50 grand of my inventory. But I have enough details and the word of the owner, and I trust them with the 50 grand of inventory they have of mine. So, yeah, that's all that I can say. I think that's a fair bit. Hopefully that lends comfort to some people, that they will be made whole in their instance. If for some reason next week you haven't been, and you happen to be watching this live stream, let me know. I literally have the owner's number. If I call, he will get back to me. If I call, he might answer in the moment. I'm not going to give out his number. I'm not going to, if I text or call him, he will get back to me. I'm not going to, like, abuse that. But if you are still owed money late next week, let's say, get a hold of me, and I will do a little bit of, like, investigating, figure out what's going on, and everyone should be made whole soon. It's an unfortunate thing that was happening. There are extenuating circumstances. More things will be made clear in the future to the public, but that's not mine to share. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's not a rug pull, and the money will come, is what I can say. Troll and Toad will continue into the future. What are your thoughts on Troll and Toad closing Evo shipments after only 2 weeks? I know more than I can say, but I think everything I just said, like, it is unlikely, though, that Troll and Toad Evo will ever exist in the way that it used to years ago. We know that because a couple weeks ago it was going to come with way higher fees. But even in that instance, even in that way that it was described to be coming, that's not happening. At least not right now. In the future, maybe, who knows? But that's not happening right now, is what I can say. No, Brad. I don't know where he lives either. Uh, Finding out that the beta cards were printed in 2024 was the best thing to happen to the hobby. Further proof that modern is best. I kind of joked about that in office hours earlier. It's like I've been talking for over a year now. I've been talking about higher pop, better, moderner, betterer, next set, best set. You know what set isn't going to be deemed fake? You know what set isn't going to cause a multi-million-dollar liability to the grading card companies? And I say this with like a little bit of concern, thinking back to the whole Fusion Strike hits it incident. Prismatic Evolutions. You know who's not going to get canceled overnight? All those prototypes did. This guy ain't getting canceled. So much of my business is pivoting towards the high pop, high liquidity, high popularity modern cards, and the latest greatest set pack rips. I feel a lot more comfortable in those arenas than I do dealing so closely with the graded card companies, dealing so closely with, I mean, I still do with Fanatics consignments. If you want to consign, feel free to reach out. But yeah, I don't know. It's wild. It's a wild time. I had my whole family with me, so we actually stayed at a hotel nearby. Red lights off. Question. Dan, are you buying any Chinese Sailor Pikachus? Is it a play? I is that's one of the 151 promo type things. I'm at a point where like if I go in on a promo, I did just order some promos recently. I'm not gonna spill the beans on which ones yet, but I want to order hundreds at once. I'm unlikely to be buying significantly more graded edge plays in the future the way that I used to buy them. I unless I buy like hundreds at once. Like I'm not that interested, and I don't have the time to buy 500 cards on TCG Player and deal with all the envelopes, deal with all this that. If it's a promo that I can buy hundreds of with a couple clicks with a DM, maybe I DM retro on Instagram, I that's the kind of thing that I need. I need things like this that can fit a lot of money in a short amount of time, or at least fit a decent amount of money in a very short amount of time. I can't do all the graded edge plays I used to do. I'm pivoting largely away from stuff like that. Not because it's not profitable, but because I have to choose where I'm going. I have to going all in on Iono promos. I mean, he made his guess. The owner of Troll and Toad told me, he said, you can say that you spoke with the owner of Troll and Toad. I was very explicit with him on like private conversations or private, but I told him, I said, I've had a lot of people asking me. I've been making content around Troll and Toad, talking about Troll and Toad Evo for years. I said, I will have dozens of people asking me tonight. I've had people in my DMs like, I would like, I can't make him, but if he had scammed me, I would have told everything. Like, I take his word. He paid me as he said he would. He said I would be paid before I went live. Had he not paid me before I went live, I might have like spoke a little more. But he honors his word. I'm gonna honor mine. Private conversations are private. So yeah, everything that I just said, I was explicitly like, I'm going to say XYZ. Are you fine with that? And he said yes. Tell them it came from the owner of Troll and Toad. So I'm not like straying beyond what I should. And if anyone's gonna do any Detective Pikachu work, there's more than one owner of Troll and Toad. So I talked to an owner of Troll and Toad, not like the owner. There's not one sole owner as far as I understand. But I talked to an owner who is an owner very involved, like who can talk on these things. I mean, no chargebacks that I know of, but there were a couple of refunds. There were a couple of refunds because people bid too high. That always happens. Jesse wants a recap vid of the box break. There should be a short coming at some point. I sent the timestamp to Fanatics. They did a video of, the awkward video of me standing here with the base box. They did a video of my tour, and I actually showed off my, you guys can't see it, but my clock is right here. The one that I got from Rusty in that trophy sale. But yeah, Fanatics will be making a short of the Charizard pull. And I might make, the thing is, I have a video that I'm making Monday to talk about all this hype, all this craze that's going on. Maybe I'll push that off. Maybe I'll push that one off until we get more closure on what's exactly happening. But it's so relevant right now. I'll probably do that Monday. And then next Monday's video, I detailed recently, like, my next 4 videos. All of them are getting pushed back 1 week because of the video that's slotting in for Monday. And if I do the live recap, it'll probably be in over a month. I'll probably recap it in over a month. I might recap the first 2 or 3 boxes that we break. The first 2 or 3 WotC boxes that we break, honestly. I'm not buying any 1510 Mews as of right now. I would assume eBay would have them eventually. I'm assuming some people will have direct contacts from China, wherever. Are you surprised Shrouded Fable PC ETBs are still in stock, even with the rise of single prices? I did not know that they were still in stock. It's not overly surprising, but it will not be overly surprising whenever they sell out either. I don't play the PC ETB game. Is it still okay to grade with CGC after this drama? There's some percentage chance that this bankrupts them. I think that's very low, personally. I'm not grading with CGC as we speak, but I'm also not grading with PSA and BGS. I'm buying slab singles and sealed. I'm sending it to Ponga and PK, and they're selling it live. I have a couple other things in the fire. I have a thing I'm bringing up with Skya, my TCG player consignments. We're doing a little trio partnership with Treasure Cruise Trading, where we're selling some geographical arbitrage sealed from Europe on the TCG player. I have the thing that I have going with Retro for Japanese sealed. I'm trying to fire up eBay Live in the coming weeks and months. I'm planning on sourcing more for BK going full-time soon. A lot of things in the fire, and grading is just like very far down my list right now. But when so I did just order a couple hundred promos recently. I will probably send some of those to CGC. I always do it. When I get hundreds of a promo, I send the best to BGS, the next best to CGC, and I send the worst to PSA. And I get the highest gem rate at PSA and the lowest at BGS and CGC, because PSA grades the easiest. Like that's just what I do. I've done it all the time. This will not stop me from sending the CGC, but you have to do the math. Do the math. There's some risk that CGC goes under for this. I just think it's so low that it's not. I'm not going to worry about it personally. Token Fun says, also about the break, I think it's unfortunate to immediately move off someone who won the bid, who bank may have blocked, not giving them a couple min to fix, especially for a big break spot. So the way that we did do this, unfortunately, if I remember correctly, the Charizard pack, someone won, but their payment didn't go through, and then we reran it, and then somebody else won it, and they pulled a Charizard. The way that we're going to do it, the way that we've always done it, the way that we always will do it, if your payment goes through, it's yours. You won and you paid. You don't win, you don't finalize the deal until I get the money, right? Like, let's just, if you don't pay, sometimes people might say in chat, like, oh, hey, I'm going to call my bank. I can't just wait 5, 10, 15 minutes and then maybe it fails again. Like, just for the flow of the stream, for the flow of everything, if you win and pay, it's yours. If you don't, we re-roll it. Like, that's just, that's the, it's unfortunate, but like, that's what we did. That's what we did earlier. That's what we did. As long as we stay consistent, I feel like that's entirely reasonable. We have a policy and we stick with it. Swapless would be amazing if and when we can do that. No need to say independent contractors, just call them the help. I still have a dream to pull a base first Charizard myself. I've pulled many base unlimited Charizards. I've pulled 4th print Charizards. Collector Dan still lives deep down in there somewhere. I have a goal to pull a base first edition Charizard. I've pulled a Ninetales base first edition. I've pulled a Magneton base first edition. So I've pulled 2 so far. Odds are not good I would have pulled a Charizard, but I have a goal that someday I will. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. A month ago, my first edition Neo Lugia was priced for $1,500 and no one bought. Market is now $3K. I'm seeing more movement on vintage. What's your theory as to how the hobby decides to migrate over, who and why? It's a collectible with intrinsic value of 0. Consumers are very fickle. As fast as they come in, they can leave. That goes for vintage, that goes for modern. I don't speculate in slabs. I used to own a bunch as a collector. They went 10, 20 times what I paid for them, so I sold them all. I just don't do the slab speculation thing. I could see 3 grand going to 5, 10 grand 10, 20 years from now. Bull case, the hobby grows a ton. But I could also see it stagnating. I could also see it going back to 1500. I don't know. Guy wants to pull an EX card from a pack, Fire Red and Leaf Green, Deoxys, the set with Regice and Regirock. I believe that's Legend Maker. I could be wrong. Something from back then. That's my peak nostalgia. Pull the Charizard EX at sneak peek. That would be wild. The EX boxes are tough. The EX boxes are a lot more tough. I feel like the EV is less harsh in the WotC boxes. Some of those EX era boxes are very tough if you don't pull a gold star. But obviously, Fire Red Leaf Green is not a gold star set. But Deoxys, though, that one is tough. That one is very tough. Umbreon is a daily listen. Umbreon is a hit. So I'm like 20 minutes behind. I'm trying to catch up, though. Yeah, I'm going to jump to this one. I see Benji. Nah, they should get 48 hours to pay. eBay Live is dark. eBay Live is dark with the amount of time they give people to pay. I've heard that the amount of time they give people to pay might be going up. So Fanatics Live is where we're at now. It's charged, and we know if we have the money immediately, within seconds. That's how Whatnot does it too. That's the only way to do it, in my opinion. The way eBay does it is like they win an auction, and then they can pay. That would slow down a WotC box break so much. If you need to, like, oh, hey, I need to check the eBay back end. Did they actually pay? They didn't pay. Oh, well, 12 people didn't pay. Like, I guess we can't open those packs. That sucks. That really sucks. PK did not get the Raichu, Jesse. Rip the pack and let the person decide if they still want it. Yeah. Rip them a Poliwrath and see if they still want to pay 600 bucks. The beard is getting up there. It's getting cold around here. We haven't even hit February yet. Our coldest month, I believe, is February. So the beard's going to get more wild before it gets more tame. Not more time, but they're going to charge, but shipping won't be mandatory for 5 days to combine. I guess I misunderstood Nick. I misunderstood Nick then. I'm not trying to spread fake news. But 5 days to combine is so dark. Like, especially when I have multiple streamers that are at different locations. People are going to buy from Ponga on Sunday, then they're going to buy from PK on Monday, and they're going to try to combine the two when they're not even physically together. But like, that is, for me operating the way that I do, multi-day combining is super dark, and I do not like it. I do not like it at all. Back in college, I used to snowboard. I have skied, but I've snowboarded significantly more. I'm going to jump back up, make sure I didn't skip any questions. With 151 ETBs being like 160 in ETB, will they be reprinted in this reprint cycle? 151 is coming up quick on being 2 years old. Not that 2 years old is like a hard, fast rule that it can't be reprinted. I would lean more towards 151. I would lean more towards Blooming Waters being their last release. That said, we could get hammered with bundles did just come. So along with Blooming Waters, I think we did get bundles. I just got offered through both my distributors bundles at like 400, 500 bucks a piece, like at full market pretty much. But bundles did get offered. So I think we might get a couple more trickles of 151. I would lean towards not getting a massive one. That said, they could hammer us with 1 million ETBs in April for all we know. I would lean against it. I have thousands of 151 packs. I have tens of thousands on the line with 151 at a highly inflated price of I'm paying $8-9 a pack. So I'll lose a lot of money if they do a massive reprint, but I'm pretty comfortable with what I have because I think the odds are better that they won't do a massive one versus then they will. But I'm just guessing. What did PFM say? I'm gonna find the quote again. I need to find it. I'm gonna. What was the? Oh no, where'd it go? What was the PFM quote? I need to find the PFM quote. The PFM quote was so good. Somebody help me if I can't find it. The quote was so good. Sorry, I'll continue on, but I'm gonna find that quote. I'm gonna DM PFM, and I'm gonna ask it if I can have it on screen. Where'd that quote go? Yeah, I can't find it. Maybe it was yeah, I don't know where it went. I was trying to find it. It was so good. It was so good though. Yeah, I have one of those dies. I think I dropped it actually. I think I dropped it on the floor. No, I must have picked it up. It was on the floor for like 2 weeks straight. I'll probably never use it myself again. But I have one of those dies somewhere with the LP near mint. It was on the floor for like 2 weeks, and then I finally picked it up. Oh no, I didn't. It got pushed into the cabinet. So there's a cabinet down under my desk where I keep all my labels for my label printer. And this was on the floor for like 2 weeks. Hair just fell off from my dog. It got kicked into the cabinet when the door closed. So yeah, it had been on the floor for weeks. I'm never gonna use it. Do you think Troll and Toad will reopen the buy list again in the near future? Yes, that is a great point that I was also told I could share that I forgot about. So thank you for asking a follow-up. The buy list is currently down because of the glitch they had where everything was marked paid. They're manually reconciling. They're manually getting everything paid. But the reason that the buy list is down, people were speculating they're going bankrupt, this, that, the other thing. The reason the buy list is down is because it would be irresponsible to continue to take new buy lists in when they've not paid out certain people. They're doing the full reconciliation, getting everyone paid, and then at some point in the future, once everything's good to go, the buy list will be open again. So yeah. You have attorney, you must be guilty. I talked to the owner of Troll and Toad years ago too. I used to be one of the larger Evo merchants. Man, from 2020 to 2022, I was planning on, like, live streams were not on my mind. I was planning on doing multi-millions a year all through Troll and Toad Evo, all like very passively. Maybe someday, who knows? Who knows? Maybe you can come back around. Let's see. Oh man. I'm going through some of the commentary about me leaking the Troll and Toad Evo. Okay, Skya the MVP. I will. So the first part I don't need. I'm just providing observational information to the best of my ability, and people can infer what they want from it. I am copying that right now. I need to have that on my copy paste forever. So literally, this is my answer. But when people ask me questions, I'm going to just pin this to the chat. I'm one guy doing my best. I'm just providing observational information to the best of my ability, and people can infer what they want from it. More people need to say this. More people need to be this. People get so emotional, rah, grab the pitchforks, grab the torches. More people just need to say, like, hey, I see it this way. This is what I think. But people are like, no, this is the way. This is the only way. This has to be it. Like, it needs to be 0, 1. It needs to be binary. It needs to be absolute. People need absolutes when most of the world is in shades of gray. So good. So good. I will ask for permission to use that moving ahead from PFM. I'm gonna write on my little notepad here. DM PFM about quote. I don't think he watches these. Gaia just stole CGC's official statement on the beta cards. Imagine if CGC says, We're just providing observational information to the best of our abilities, and people can infer what they want from it. No, that's specifically like it's spelled out in black and white. A lot of things are gray, but it is spelled out in black and white that they are authenticating a collectible to be genuine, and they're on the hook for these things for sure. That's nuance. Everything is nuance. Everything is like, not everything, but most things. Most things are shades of gray. Most things are nuance. Retro, make a video. Make a video. You said you would. You're lying to us. Make a video. You can't take a side when you're not even making videos. Come on. People calling me fence sitters, and then they're not even making videos. Please, for everybody. Let me continue trying to catch up. Justin says, any advice you can give to someone who is ready to start taking some profits? Have an EIN and a sales tax certificate, separate bank account, next step. Thank you, Accountant Dan. So I would advise, like, you consult with an actual licensed accountant. I am not one, but I will tell you what I did with my licensed accountant. We determined that the best for me was to have an S corporation. It may or may not be the best for you. Look into it. If you're netting up into the 5 figures, especially higher 5 figures, if you're netting into the 6 figures, mathematically speaking, it almost certainly needs to be better for you to be an S corporation, pay yourself a salary, and then a distribution instead of all flowing through to your marginal tax bracket. So look into S corporation, pending what income level you're at. Other than that, I would say separate credit cards too. You mentioned the bank account. You didn't mention the credit cards, but never take a risk that would bankrupt you if it goes poorly. Like, never go all in on one thing. People will say in hindsight how obvious certain things are, but never go all in on one play. Because yes, if it pans out, you will make tons of money, but like Warren Buffett says this too. You don't go all in on one thing. You don't give yourself like one point of failure. Yeah. I don't know what else to say more than that. I've said a million things on this channel, this channel's history. I don't know if you're grading. I don't know if you're doing bulk. I don't know if you're doing pack rips. I could give more specific information if you put me down one of those avenues, but so many avenues. Take your time, calm, cool, collected, logic, reason, all the good stuff. Don't fall for the hype, FOMO, all those emotional things like robot over human. Oh, I wasn't called a fence sitter in that instance, but when you're saying take a side and go to war, you didn't explicitly call me a fence sitter, but that is like, I can't do these back and forths anymore. When you're telling me to take a side, you're saying like, oh, you're in the middle. Me being called a fence sitter is oftentimes when I'm in the middle on something, it's not word for word the same thing, but it's like analogous. It's like using a little bit of logic to get to there. I'm not trying to strawman you. I'm not trying to gaslight you. I will cease interacting with your comments. We always get there somehow. I don't know how. Let's see. Janfrey says, I found that it's harder for lower capital people to buy bulk cards to grade on TCG Player because of the new increased shipping. Do you have any thoughts? I guess it doesn't matter for 5+. I mean, it's definitely harder. It's harder for everyone with less capital to do things that tie up a lot of capital, right? I don't know what way. I don't know a way around that. I guess the best way around that is to get to shows, is to get to conventions, get to your LGS, buy things in person that you can pre-grade in person, buy only the 10 so you're not stuck with the cast-offs. I think that's good general advice. Maybe you don't live close to LGSs, maybe you can't afford to travel to shows, then it doesn't apply as much, and I don't know what more to say. But is PokeRev really not doing WotC anymore? Has he not been doing WotC recently? That's crazy. Retro, I'm sorry if you were trolling. Text only is the worst way of conveying information. It is terrible. The sob emoji got to me. I don't know. I don't know. It didn't feel like you were trolling. I never swore off soda entirely. I'm primarily doing, but if I'm 230 plus, I am forbid from IPAs, I'm forbid from soda, I'm forbid from chicken wings. So like I started 226 this morning, so I'm good to have a soda. At some point throughout the year, I'll set a new lower guideline of like I want to get down. I'm not setting it as like a firm goal, but like I want to see 215 on the scale, and then I'll set my new thing for like 220. No sodas, no wings, no IPAs. But right now I'm 226. Dan's like grading is so 2024. I'm definitely going to grade in 2025, but I will almost certainly grade less in 2025 than I did in 2024. Just due to the nature of the business that I'm doing. Not because it's not profitable, not because it doesn't work, but like I'm just pivoting towards a different business style. And maybe 2026 I pivot back, who knows. eBay is good to buy a bunch of stuff. TCG Player is good to buy a bunch of stuff. Going to a convention, having a platform, having a YouTube, having a website, having an Instagram, putting on a buy list is a really good way too. Let's see. What's the streamer name where the pack happened? I don't know what pack we're talking about. Oh, talking about the refunded pack, and then that was my stream. My stream, a pack got sold, the payment failed, so we re-auctioned it. Yeah. Grimer wants to rip an old school EX. DK did not get the Raichu. Rip to the person who got a Polyrath and Dan just laughed at. Oh man, we will do base set again. I don't think we'll do base set next. I think we'll probably do Jungle First Edition next. I'm not entirely decided. Jungle's harder to weigh. Base weighed so clean. Jungle, you get a lot of in-between packs. I don't know what we'll do with that. It's tougher. George says Polyrath gets too much hate. Multiple streamers could be a nightmare with eBay. Absolutely. I'm just providing observational information to the best of my ability, and people can infer what they want from it. When you crack ETBs, what do you do with all the extras? Sleeve, dice, dividers, etc. I had 3 different people that used to buy bulk ETB supplies from me, and all of them had said, Dan, no mas. Unfortunately, the volume that I was doing them at, I overran the people that I was selling to. So I'm putting them in a big box on a big pallet for now, and I need to figure that out soon. Best advice for how does one sell 4 to 5-year-old inventory with no real catalog of receipts? Use what may be a personal collection to start. Do your best to estimate what the original cost basis would have been. It is tough, but there is no one in the hobby at the multi-7-figure level, I promise you, that is detailing the cost basis exactly of every individual card. But even better, actually, I don't know why I didn't go here immediately. The better answer is to be cash basis. Most people would benefit from being cash basis. It all depends on your goals. Talk to your accountant, figure out what your goals are, figure out what works best, accrual or cash. Most people would benefit most from being cash basis, and then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What you spend, you take in money, money goes out. The balance of money year over year is all that matters because you're writing off your inventory. You're expensing your inventory as you buy. It's way better for simplicity wise. Ooh says I'm switching to a soccer player workout with much more cardio so I can drop more instead of the strength training I was doing. See, most of my dropping weight, a little bit of it was air alert, but most of it was just eating less, drinking less. Caloric deficit can be found in many ways. Caloric deficit can be found by consuming less calories and or burning more calories, right? I said many ways, but truly it's 2 ways, some combination of both. Fitness and finances are so analogous in so many ways. And for so long, I've been so good with my finance and I've been so bad with my fitness. So like a big focus for last year, and I dropped 25 pounds. I'm gonna try to drop at least another 10 this year ish, and see how I feel, see how I look. I will say though, being 225 now versus being 252 at the start of the year, a couple shirts fit better. One pair of jeans, I think I more is the belt. I usually wear a belt. Most of my jeans are sized a little bit big, so I had to go down like a belt notch or two, depending on the belt, I guess. But I don't feel that different, to be honest. I lost 10% of my weight, and I don't feel like I look that different. People have said things for sure. People that didn't know, people that don't follow me on my, like I didn't tell certain people, and they said something. I don't feel like I look that different. I feel like I look way more different when I just shave my beard. Like it looks like I dropped more pounds than when I actually dropped the pounds. But yeah, the amount of time that my finances were in such good shape, and whether it's a dollar deficit or surplus, or a caloric deficit or surplus, you have two levers: earn more, burn more calories, earn more money, or spend less money, consume less calories. Like that's how it all works. A lot of people externalize a lot of that. A lot of people don't take ownership of it, but I fully take ownership. IPAs and chicken wing and pizza and all that stuff led to where I was. And I still do all of it. I still drink some Coke, but less of it. And I try to be better overall. Do I think Paldea Evolved is a good buy at 183 shipped? I don't know what percent of market that is, but I don't really buy much at 100% of market. Most of the stuff that I do is bought at 70 to 85% of market, or it's bought at wholesale through my distributors. The only times that I buy things at full market are plays like this, where I buy them, maybe even at a slight premium to market, to get them sealed, unadulterated, not sifted through for pre-grading. I'll pay full market on TCG Player to buy 100 Celebrations Charizards because I'm going to grade them. I'm going to improve them. Almost never do I buy at full market on speculation that market will increase. I buy at full market to grade, to force the increase, to make money. Or I buy at 70 to 85% to sell it 100 to 110%. Or I buy at 70 to 85% or at wholesale, and then I wait for things to go up over time, like on Ultra Modern Sealed. But no, like I'm not buying Prismatic as an investment where it's at. I'm not buying Paldea Evolved as an investment where it's at. I bought some as a speculation. I call it an investment because people make me on YouTube, but I bought a bunch of Paldea as a speculation from my distributor when it came out. I bought some more later when it was cheaper. I'm not buying anything at double the price that I paid solely as an investment, solely as a speculation, almost ever. So yeah, I really don't chase. I look ahead and I wait for the next play. As Warren Buffett says, there's no called strikes in investing. There's no called strikes. You don't have to swing. You can stand there at the plate, bat at the ready. You can build your liquidity, wait for your perfect pitch. And then when the perfect pitch comes, when that hanging curveball comes over the plate, line it up and knock it out of the park. You don't have to swing though. So many people get so caught up thinking like, oh, there's not much out there to buy right now. I mean, I'm buying constantly because I'm buying at a fraction of market and selling at a higher fraction of market. But you don't have to buy. Save up and don't go broke on good deals. So then you don't have any cash flow. You don't have any capital when the great deals come along. Things that I always say, that I always will be saying. And yeah, I addressed that. I bought a 50K case over market, but I bought that because if you buy a loose promo, it is decent chance it's been pre-graded. The only way to guarantee you're not buying a pre-graded one is to buy a sealed distributor case of 400 of them. So that's what I did. I paid a 10% premium and I got lucky. Frankly, like I got very lucky that market went up as it did, and we're going to make way more money than we should have on that play. How high can I jump now, Dan? So I haven't tested my jump. I ended my Air Alert program early. I had to end it early because I got injured. I injured my Achilles. That's self-diagnosed. I couldn't walk for 2 days. I think I targeted it down to where it was, my Achilles. I didn't go get an MRI. I didn't go get anything. But it hurt really bad. I think I strained my Achilles, best I can tell. I couldn't walk well for a couple days. It hurt really bad to walk for a week. And I'm back now though. But I wanted to give it a full month. I wanted to give it a lot of time. I didn't want to overdo it. I still have not. One thing I kind of did, not fully intentionally, but partially, I gave January to see how my new equilibrium was, to see how my new habits were, how my choice of food was, how my lack of exercise was. I've not exercised much all of January. But I started the year at 225. I'm 226. I've seen 229. I've seen 224. I've been fluctuating like in that range. So I feel good and comfortable that my equilibrium with my new eating habits is 225-ish. And I'm going to start at some time in February. Now that I'm confident my Achilles is fully healed, I'm going to start some new workout program. And it's going to involve jumping. It's going to involve a little bit of like light cardio, whatever. Get the heart rate up for a sustained amount of time. Like 30 minutes. I want to do 30 minutes every morning that I'm working before I shower. It'll get the blood flowing. I can answer my emails. I can answer my DMs while I'm doing it. Be productive. And it'll be good for my health. And I can start the charge. 225 was steady through January. I'm going to start the charge towards 215. So yeah, that's where I'm at. That's what I'm planning. But I haven't tested my jump because I don't want to re-aggravate it. I have an icy driveway. I could try it on if I wanted to, where I did my original mark. But next time I go to a gym, next time where I live, we have a couple places around us that a lot of people in the winter will have their children's birthday parties. Like in a local gymnasium, they have inflatable things. They have the basketball hoops. They have kickballs. They have rock climbing wall, whatever. Next time I'm there, I'll give it a try, see if I can dunk. But honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I fully got there. At some point in the spring, I'll have to get back to jump training. Hey, so should I not send my 100+ cards to CGC? What do you think? Are they off the hook a little? I feel like if a creator wasn't backing those proto cards, they wouldn't have touched it. If I had cards to grade right now on hand, I would send to CGC. I'm not going to tell you if you should or shouldn't. There's some risk that they go insolvent. There's some risk they go bankrupt from all of this. I think it's low. I don't think it'll happen. And even if it does happen, I don't think it's going to happen in the next month or two. I think this will be a drawn out process. So I would, if I were intending to grade with them otherwise, I would continue to do that in the short term, personally. I never tell people what to do though. I lost the comment, but is it still copy pasted? So regarding that question, I'm just providing observational information to the best of my ability, and people can infer what they want from it. So I'm just telling you what I would do. You can do what you would do based on what I say. When do you see this market cool off / slow down? I can foresee people starting to lose money soon with these crazy 2 to 3x MSRP prices at release, especially for Journey Together. Yes, I think a lot of people are going to lose money on surging. I hear some people say no one's investing at 250. Yes, some people are. I'll be on the same page with you. Like, the smarter people aren't. But not only are people investing at 220, 240, 250, people are investing at full market plus sales tax. I promise you. I know they are. Not as many people that are investing wisely, more shrewdly, at 95 at distributor at wholesale. But I promise you, people are investing at full market. People were investing in $1,000 Eevee and Pikachu PSA 10 first edition jungle cards. People were investing in $9,000 base and limited PSA 9 Charizards. People were investing in $40,000 base booster boxes a few years ago. They got destroyed. People are investing at full market plus sales tax. Those people, like, stop it. I don't know what you're doing. At minimum, get your resale certificate if you're trying to make money in this. Do not pay 100%, 110% of market as an investor. That is very dumb. That is very dumb. Objectively dumb and incorrect in the eyes of the IRS. Like, if you're buying to make money, you are a business. If you're a business intending for resale, you don't pay sales tax. That's how it works. That's objectively the process. So, like, some people were buying $300 ETBs of Hidden Fates years ago as an investment. Many are just gamblers, collectors. Many are just trying to rip it, get the God Pack. I understand that. But some of them are investing, I promise you, at every value, all the way up to market, all the way at the tops. those people are not being very wise. But some people, to be fair, some people bought Surging when it was 180. Some people bought it for 180 plus sales tax. They paid 200, and now they made money. They go sell it to their LGS. They go sell it to a breaker. They make some money after shipping, after fees, whatever. So they're rewarded for making a bad decision. At a minimum, they should be paying only 100% of full market. Nobody should be paying sales tax if you're trying to make money, because you are a business. Those are intended for resale. Like, that's just how it works. So I know a lot of people will lose money when things come down. People will lose money on Surging when it dips after the reprint. Will it dip? Will it come back quick enough? Will it be fine anyways? Maybe. But like, people will get burned. There's no way around it. People always do. And some amount of them leave, some amount of them come back. Some amount of people are just born to lose money. They'll lose money in some like pyramid scheme. They'll lose money in some rug pull crypto. They'll buy into Dogecoin at 60 cents. They'll buy into Bitcoin at 100,000 and then sell when it goes down to 90. They'll buy into Bitcoin at 60 last time and then sell when it goes down to 20 and then it goes back to 100. I guarantee you there's somebody in this world that bought $50,000 Bitcoin and then sold it at sub 30. And I guarantee you one of those same individuals bought it at 100 and resold it at 90 just recently. Like that's how people buy high, sell low. People do it. But like, when do I think it will cool? I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. But if I buy stuff, I'm buying at 70 to 85%. Surging, I'm trying to limit my surging as much as possible right now. I told PK and Ponga, blow it out. If you're selling it at auction and it's getting 80%, I'm fine with that. I had more than I was comfortable having, and at the prices that they were, and maybe in hindsight I'll be like, oh crap, it didn't fall as far as I thought it would. But given the information I have at the time, I'm just providing observational information to the best of my ability, and people can infer from that what they want. I'm navigating best that I can. Excited to send you my Terrasto slabs when they come back from PSA. In your opinion, what would the best way to get rid of 30 of the same SAR? So I will tell you exactly what I do in that instance. When I have 30 plus of the same card, I sent some to Probstein. I sent some to ZNG Emporium. I sent a lot to myself at Fanatics. So when I have a lot, I spread them around. James always ends on Sunday. Fanatics always ends on Sunday. But I'm covering eBay and I'm covering Fanatics. When I send to Probstein, they do every night of the week. So I don't conflict overly with James on my Probstein Grey Felt Hat PSA 10s because his are likely to end on Wednesday or a Friday or whatever. And people really sweat what day of the week it ends on. It's not as big of a deal as you think it is. I promise you. I've looked into the data myself. I did a little presentation in the Patreon before it on it. It's not a huge deal. But yeah, if I had 30 of the same card, I would send, like, this is exactly not just what I would do, it's what I am doing. I would sell some on my Fanatics, some on James's Fanatics, some on James's eBay, some on Probstein. I'd spread the love. I sold some through Ponga, through BK, spreading the love all around. I'm getting trickled in some packs of some packs at 70%. Yes. Let me pull up my buy list. So for anyone who doesn't know, I am always buying packs. Every Monday, I am updating my buy list with what I'm buying and at what prices I'm buying it. Yeah. So my buy list is updated weekly on Mondays. Last update was 127 at 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm buying PSA slabs for 75%. Cards that are under 120. I don't want really high-end slabs. If they're high-end over 120, I will consign them for you, or the rates below up to 95% payout. I'm not currently buying raw singles. I'm buying ETB and booster box cases at 75%. Yes, I have bought some of them at 75% recently. PayPal, friends and family, ACH, Zelle, Wire, crypto, USDC, all the different things. And then packs. I am buying, so this one's harder to see. Let me blow this up and let me shrink this down. So yeah, this is going to be impossible to see, unfortunately, but I guess you can kind of see there. You can kind of see there. I am paying 70 to 85% depending on the set. Let me just zoom way in on the percentage. So most of the Scarlet Violet sets, I'm paying 70%. I am paying 75% on Paldean Fates and Paradox Rift. And 151, I'm paying 80% on Paldea Evolved. And then a lot of the Evolving Skies, I'm paying 80%. Fusion Strike, I'm paying 80%. Most of the Sword and Shield, I'm paying 75%. But like Battle Styles, Chilling Reign, Vivid Voltage, Champion's Path, Darkness Ablaze, I'm paying 70% on those. Everything Sun and Moon era, I'm paying at least 75% on. I'm paying 80% on Cosmic and 80% on Hidden Fates, 75% on most else. Another place that I put this stuff, let me go back full screen for a second. Oops. The red lights replayed. I'm not going red lights, I promise. The red lights replayed because I still had that active. Let me go to my Instagram really quickly too. My Instagram profile. So every Monday, I'm doing what I'm calling a hot buy list. I am finding a handful of sets that I really want. I really want them. One, because I think they're going up. Two, because my live streams have been selling a ton of them recently. Or three, my inventory is getting low on them. Some combination of the first two, all three. But yeah, I am doing a hot buy list every Monday. I will do this alongside updating my website. This week, I was buying Evolving Skies, and I still am. I'm buying Evolving Skies at $17.50 a pack. That's over 80%. I'm buying Twilight Masquerade at $4.50 a pack. That's over 80%. Paldea Evolved and Fusion Strike at $6.50 and $4.50. This buy list caused me to buy over 3,000 Twilight Masquerade. I'm likely done with Twilight Masquerade at $4.50, but I would still buy it at the live price on my site. But yeah, every Monday I'm going to go through my inventory and I'm going to figure out what I'm paying at the time on all prices, and I will update all those buy lists. So definitely check it out. Some sets though, I'm at 75%. I might have not had anybody sell them to me in a month. But like if I haven't sold any on stream in a month, I'm going to stick with the rate that I'm at. If and when I look at the numbers every week. Every week I see what Ponga and PK sold, and it's like, they just sold 500 Twilight Masquerade. Let me put that on my hot buy list. That's how I'm going to operate moving ahead. It's the bubbles, Chan Free. It's the bubbles. I love the bubbles in my beverages. I don't know. I just couldn't jog to the fridge for a beer the same. That's how I knew my Achilles was gone and I had to retire. Oh, man. Where are we at now? Change his legal name to Duncan Dan. If I applied for the resale license, how long would it take me to be tax exempt? So Ethan, I know you are in my same county in New York. If you applied for your resale license, you go to the county building and you will have it same day. Things might have changed. I did this 10 years ago, but last time I did it, you go to the county building. Maybe it's all online now. Text me. I can find you the link for what you have to do. When I did it, I had to go into the county building. Post pandemic, I don't think you'll have to anymore. It's probably all online, but you have to get a certificate of authority, it's called. At some point, you would also get the EIN. But yeah, we can talk about that more separately if you want to. Watch out for the Van Goghs. Might be the next big news. Dan, you're a nice guy. Look into it. That would be wild. There's fakes of many things on like Alibaba, on eBay. I have seen instances of fake Van Goghs, but these ones are not. Can we go red lights again? Probably not. That's probably a one-time stream thing. I'll probably end before I go red lights again. Follow up to your surgeon comment. Since you have distro, do you have any more info about that? I think it's end of February to early March, but do you know what products they are reprinting? No. So I do have 2 distributors. I get my reprint info more from YouTube than I do from my distributors. I am not a big enough account. I am not in good enough graces with my distributors to get all that information. I listen to Eli, Pokemart, and Alex Nostalgianomics. Like Alex does have distribution, but he's newly into distribution. Eli is the side of that equation that buys multi-million a year. Like I buy 6 figures a year through my distributors, but Eli buys 7 figures a year, multi-7 figures a year, as far as I understand. PokeNE, I think he's had distribution for less time than I have, but he's buying at a higher level than I do. So I listen to those guys. They give me quicker information on when reprints are coming on YouTube. than I get from my own distributor. So yeah, Reeks, we talked about it. We talked about it for hours. If you want it, go back there, 2X it. I talk slowly. You can cover it. I talked about it for hours. I think 2 hours. It was all alpha, beta, omega, all that stuff. But yeah, I will double check actually. Let me. Sometimes I do get allocations shown to me. It's interesting because like there's times where Brian and Eli are talking about not having known allocations, and I already have mine. So sometimes I do get allocations earlier. I think largely because I'm a smaller account. They're just like, oh yeah, give Dan his 2 booster cases of this Paldea Evolve reprint. I actually got 4 back when that happened last year. But it's like they might get up 20 of that or 30 of that. So maybe they have to wait longer and get more. And I don't know. I don't know how it all works. It's crazy. I'm gonna open up my open orders on my one distributor and see if I have any surging. I actually missed a call from him earlier, so maybe he had some information for me that I unfortunately don't have right now. But yeah, I'm looking at my open orders. Let me go to my portal on my other one. The distributors all do it different ways. So journey together, journey together. Let me see if there's any surging. No surging on my open orders from one distributor. So I don't think I have any more coming that I know how much is coming yet. My other one, I don't think that one shows it either. Control F is finding nothing, so no. Quadzilla says, perfect, that's what I was thinking of doing, so that solidifies my decision. I have 255 Terrestrial Evolution SARs, so you'll definitely be getting some. Yeah, you know where to find me. If anyone ever wants to consign, I am here. I am here, and these are my rates. I pay out up to 95%. I do utilize ZNG Emporium myself. He has a great service. I utilize Probestein myself. They have a great service. I utilize a lot of different services. I run my own for Fanatics. Cheaper rates than if you sell through Fanatics yourself. Paying out higher percentages generally at lower thresholds than all the eBay consigners as of now. Maybe that changes in the future, but very, very solid rates, I will say. But don't believe me, compare them to the other rates that you see on the market. And Trainer Sin has sent to me from, people have sent to me from all over the world. Europe, Canada, consigners have sent to me from all over the world. You can send to me from anywhere. Full declaration with signature on the package. My business insurance will fully cover the shipment. So I've had people like, should I under declare? No, like fully declare everything on the up and up, on the books, and it will be fully covered. I'm going to sleep soon, Pokemartin. I appreciate you watching out for my sleep habits, though. George B says, I have like 40 tins with Evo Skies Chilling Fusion. If I sell them to you, do you want them in the tins or pack provenance, or should I just take them out? Broken down. So yeah, break them down. I have someone who some fan of mine, I forget what the username is, but he's commenting on a bunch of my comments on other channels saying that I'm a scammer selling light packs to my followers on Fanatics. It's like, people send me the packs first and then I pay for them. If people are piping packs, weighing packs, whatever, I have ways of determining if that's happening. They will not have a good time if they do that. So don't tamper with anything. Break them down from products. I have tons of people that I've dealt with many, many times that are regular sourcers for me. And I have no concern that my packs that I sell on the live streams are ever having issues in any way. But yeah, feel free to send me the loose packs, but don't do anything bad with them. I have my ways. And go watch PK. Go watch Ponga on live streams. We've hit some major cards. We're pulling God packs. We're pulling Charizards. We are not like the thought that some people have that Dan is going to sell 200,000 packs, maybe 100 to 200,000 packs in 2025. And Dan is sitting there with his little scale with $3, $5, $20 packs of Pokemon cards. Like, that is not happening. I'm not that effing dumb. It is so easy to make money making an honest living. I am not doing that. I will never do that. That is my word to you. I did indeed get a new hater added to the list. It's a fairly short list. I think it's a reasonable size list. Brad tops that list, but it's reasonable sized. It's inevitable. 6,000 something subscribers. It's gonna happen. Leo Kira is 3 hours late. I'm gonna be wrapping up relatively soon, but I promise you I'm not leaving because you came. Person in front of me at the vending machine cleared it out and said he was selling everything to you. Small world. That would be semi hilarious, but I would also apologize if that was the case. I'm sure Pokemartin's memeing, but maybe he's not. I don't go to Costco myself. I don't buy from Target, Walmart, Costco, any of these things myself. But I buy from people who are like scalping the product, right? In my opinion, on the moral thing, it's like there are adults that are spending their money at establishments who are happy to sell them the product that they're buying. It's like, hey, I'm Costco. I have a pallet worth of this product. Do you want to buy it? The adult buys it from them, and then the adult sells it to me. They're paying a price that the company's happy with. I'm paying a price they're happy with. And then I'm selling it on to my end consumer that's happy paying the price they're paying. It's like, I kind of get the issue with it, but I also kind of don't at all either. It's like there's a long chain of people who are happy to do business with each other. And then there are all these people in the peanut gallery screeching their minds off, like having an issue with it. It's like, I don't know. I don't fully get it. I don't fully get it. But think about that. So here's the whole chain. Here's how it works. So there's a business. There's a business. Costco, Pokemon Center, Target, Walmart, and someone walks in. Don't punch people. Don't run if you're not supposed to run in the store. Obey all the rules. But if you're not lying, cheating, stealing, assaulting, if you as an individual go in and do business and you pay the full price they're asking and you're kind, courteous, respectful, and then you sell that to me and I pay a price I'm happy to pay, and then I pay Ponga and PK to sell those back onto the end consumer who's happy to take the gamble and rip the stuff, and some of them pull a god pack, and who's the victim there? The people screeching will say, oh, think of the children, yada, yada, yada. There's a lot of packs available. Like, I've had this conversation so many different ways on so many different days. Like, it used to be Vivid Voltage and Shining Fates and all these sets that people used to screech about. You can buy now. They're readily available. Go buy them. I'll sell you some. I'll sell you some. But they don't want it. They're screeching about Prismatic. They're screeching about, like, people will find a way to be a victim if they want to be. If you're, I say this to my kid at times. My son a couple times has said, this is the worst day of my life. You're welcome, son. The worst day of your life is the day that you lost dessert because you were being a naughty boy. You're welcome for having raised you in such a nice life that's the worst day of your life. When people's worst thing going on in their life is that they can't buy packs of the set they want to for the price they want to, like, holy shit, first world problems. The lights are like tilting red a little bit. If that's the worst thing you got going on in your life, that you can't buy the Pokemon card that you want to buy for the price you want to pay, congratulations on living such a great life. Like, that's awesome for you. I'm glad for you that is the biggest problem going on in your life right now. And I say that, like, very sarcastically. I understand that a lot of people have a lot actual problems in their life. Some amount of them might want MSRP Prismatic too, but it really is a small thing when you think in the grand scheme of life and all that. So I'm going to end before the lights turn red, because that was getting dangerously close to red lights. Before getting access to the distribution, what do you recommend for stocking up on inventory to sell, not doing the store swoops? Anything and everything that's available, whatever's popular, whatever you can sell. You don't have to take anything. You don't have to. Will you be punished if you have low spend because you're not buying anything? Absolutely. But do they force you? Do they don't force you. You never have to take anything. But yeah, you are judged on your spend. So you will be punished to some extent if you don't. Do you buy in any and all collection boxes available to you currently? $10 to $12 distro price has to be a no-brainer and help allocations. There's almost none available. right now there's almost none available. So I'm bottlenecked by like my amount of labor I can allocate to breaking down products. So I buy loose packs from the people that buy. I would rather pay a premium to people who are doing that work for me. Leo Kiro's gonna go to bed and sort cards tomorrow. Appreciate you listening back on the rewatch. Team Rocket Japanese boxes pre-order between 130 to 150. What do you think of these prices? I'm not buying. I'm not buying. I didn't buy Battle Partners at all. I'm waiting for it to calm some. I will buy some through _retrospecs on Instagram at some point, but I'm not doing it right away, and I'll do it by feel. I will re-enter that set by feel at some point. I do have to put in an order with Retro this week because like PK is out of Terastal, and I want to stock up a couple Japanese sets for them. But yeah, I'm just not touching them at 130 to 150. That's crazy to me. I'm not gonna touch it. I know what MSRP is. Not that I'm entitled to pay it, but like I'm deciding to not buy. Like you can just decide to not buy. Me, I'm buying Prismatic at 80%, 70% to sell. I'm not touching with a 10-foot pole Japanese Rocket at 130 to 150. At least right now. Maybe I'll get feeling a little frisky as it gets closer. Maybe I will opt to get a case or two so that we have it out of the gate, and I'll try to sell a little premium to it. But I don't know. As of right now, I did not know it was that high. I'm not pre-ordering, certainly. But yeah, with that, that is everything for tonight. I appreciate, as always, everyone hanging out. We went red lights there for a while. We talked about the prototypes. We talked about the biggest scam in the hobby. Hopefully, this will forever have been the biggest scam in the Pokemon hobby. Hopefully, we don't have someone else one-upping them. But yeah. That is what